Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump insists the Iran war is close to over. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
Those discussions are being had, but nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House. But we feel good about the prospects of a deal.
No new peace talks are confirmed. As for Israel and Lebanon, in a historic first, the president says Prime Minister Netanyahu and his counterpart will speak directly today. The BBC's Yolande Nell in Jerusalem.
We're starting to see on Israeli army radio, a cabinet member has come out saying that the prime minister is indeed expected to speak later today with the Lebanese president, Joseph Aoun. And still, though, what we've been hearing the latest from my colleagues in Beirut when they have been contacting their sources in the Lebanese presidency is that they have no information on any kinds of talks.
Hail the size of golf balls pounding northeast Ohio as severe storms slam the nation's midsection for the third day in a row. At least 4 tornadoes tore through Wisconsin. Portions of Interstate 43 are reopening after torrential rain stranded drivers in rising water. And there could be more dangerous weather ahead. CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Multiple days of storms going over the same areas, and here we go again. Flood watches have been expanded, and now we've got tornado watches across 7 states. So from western parts of Illinois, eastern Iowa, which has a tornado warning south of Des Moines right now, all the way down to the Texas border.
Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor has issued a rare public apology to a colleague.
Sotomayor says comments she made last week about Justice Brett Kavanaugh were inappropriate and hurtful. While speaking at the University of Kansas School of Law, she mentioned how Kavanaugh wrote in favor of lifting limits on immigration raids in Los Angeles last year. She said Kavanaugh, quote, probably doesn't really know any person who works by the hour. This is from a man whose parents were professionals, end quote. In her apology, Sotomayor says she regrets her hurtful comments. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Music fans could be getting some money back. CBS's Jolene Kent.
After 4 days of deliberation, a federal jury in New York ruled that Live Nation and its subsidiary, Ticketmaster, illegally operated as a monopoly and overcharged customers in more than 30 states.
What's going on with car prices? They're up 40% since the pandemic. CBS's Maya Blackstone.
It led to fewer trade-ins and lease returns. And so also, because new cars are becoming increasingly expensive and unavailable, buyers are flooding the used car market, which is causing prices to soar.
This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at deatakeback.com.
It is 6:03. We've got cloudy skies. It is 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The St. Louis County Executive, Sam Page, was in court yesterday seeking to block the county chairwoman, Rita Hurd Days, from assuming his power while he's overseas.
Page will not be effectively absent while he's overseas on the inaugural flight to London via British Airways. Meanwhile, the attorney representing Chairwoman Rita Hurd Days and the council said that the law is clear. When Page is out of the continental United States, she assumes his powers. Page says when the law was passed, he wasn't concerned because Hurd Days told him she didn't think it was a big deal. So what changed?
Over the past month, with the budget cuts and the fallout of the budget cuts, the service reductions required by the county council's budget cuts, I would say the temperature between the county council and my office has been raised quite a bit.
Page says he will not take this trip if he is not granted a temporary restraining order blocking Hurd Days from assuming the county executive's power. No order was given by the judge at the conclusion of the hearing. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX has reached out to Chairwoman Hurd Days for comment.
What exactly does the law say about situations when the council chair becomes acting county executive? We asked KMOX legal analyst Brad Young.
Now, in the actual charter itself, it says that during the county executives, and I'm quoting here, temporary disability or absence from the county, unquote, then that transfer of power occurs. So Sam Page's allegation here is that when it says in the county charter that absence from the county, he's stating and arguing that that means him being, for example, unconscious, ill, unable to fulfill the duties of the county executive, as opposed to simply traveling to Europe, which he's planning on doing this weekend.
As for who pays to settle this legal question, that would be taxpayers on both sides.
Senator Josh Hawley is using State Farm's own words against them as he investigates why St. Louis tornado victims are still waiting on insurance payouts. In a testimony given just before last May's storms, Hawley confronted State Farm's operations vice president Michael Keating with whistleblower reports alleging the firm routinely alters damage estimates to avoid paying claims. Keating denied the practice under oath.
No, we would not do that, nor do we direct anyone to do that.
Well, this same whistleblower says, and I quote, "More concerning was the alteration and deletion of factual findings in my reports. In many cases, I documented legitimate damage to vinyl siding that warranted full elevation replacement, only to have the estimate changed to reflect piecemeal spot repairs, contrary to manufacturer specifications and professional standards."
Respectfully, Senator, I'm unaware of the details, surrounding these allegations, but we certainly follow the recommendations of, based on the standards as that person referenced.
Hawley says today 30,000 local families are being, quote, held in contempt by the company. He cites a rise in complaints over lowballed estimates and a refusal to pay for temporary housing.
A popular boutique marketplace with locations throughout the St. Louis area has closed its doors for good.
Painted Tree Boutiques shut down all 60-plus locations nationwide Monday, citing rising costs and shifting shopping habits. Emily Parada of Jane of All Trades STL says the end came fast, even if the warning signs had been there.
Recently, they got a new CEO, and with other new developments, we thought maybe there was a little bit of hope they could turn things around. And then, yes, we got the email yesterday about all the locations closing nationwide. So it was quite a shock, but not a complete surprise.
For Natalie Von Till, the Maplewood and Baldwin locations were where she built her art business from the ground up.
I have a full-time job. So this was kind of like a little side hustle dream of mine to build this art business. And so it was great to bring my things there and then walk away and not have to do the everyday of running, a brick and mortar.
Makers have until April 24th to clear out their booths. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, workers who helped rebuild Creve Coeur Park's soccer complex after last year's tornado are finally getting paid what they were owed. A St. Louis County investigation found contractor Cardinal Turf had been illegally shortchanging its workers, some getting just $15 an hour on a public project that legally required much more. The company has now been forced to pay $200,000 in back wages. Investigators say workers shared pay stubs and direct deposit records that helped them make the case.
It is 6:08. We'll check traffic and weather for you coming up next.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check traffic. Roger Brand, do you have anything out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not much so far, Tom, which is great news, obviously. Thursday mornings tend to be lighter traffic days. I do have a first alarm sounding for a structure fire. It was reported as a vehicle fire at a building, the 100 block of East Union Street. That's downtown Pacific, so maybe it caught the building on fire, but fire crews on the way there right now. Interstate-wise, we're in good shape. The things look fine down through Festus on 55 and approaching the Merrimack and those construction zones also in the city. On the Illinois side, I do see a little bit of a slowdown westbound 64 passing 159, but otherwise, rest of the interstates are looking good. I did mention those signals. I can see them now. They are on red flash. That's 141 at Briarhurst, just north of Big Bend. So this right now, just very brief delays because we have such light volume. But as we get into the heart of the rush hour, it may be more of an issue. So just be prepared. But like I said, otherwise, the rest of the roadways are looking good for you so far. Next update is 620 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
KMOX AccuWeather, plenty of clouds today, breezy and not as warm as yesterday. There'll be a couple of showers, even a thunderstorm, the high 79. But those thunderstorms late this afternoon and early tonight can be severe, with damaging wind gusts, hail, and flooding downpours. Lingering clouds late tonight, those 65. Tomorrow, clouds will give way to some sun. A warm day, high 85. Friday, some sun followed by increasing clouds, breezy, quite warm and rather humid. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm, the high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's cloudy and 62 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's now 6:12. We have sports coming up in 3 minutes on Total Information AM. It's been decided the winner of the St. Charles City Council race will be determined by drawing a name out of a small opaque jar. City leaders say state law would allow them to have a special runoff election to break the tie between Bill Otto and Chris Kyle, but it would cost about $30,000. Very close races are not terribly uncommon, the former mayor says, but a tie between two candidates is extremely rare.
Some big housing grants just announced by the St. Louis Archdiocese.
For the third consecutive year, the Archdiocesan Annual Catholic Appeal is handing out grants to local groups dedicated to increase housing for vulnerable individuals and struggling families. This year, a total of more than $1.7 million will be awarded to 7 local groups, bringing the 3-year total to nearly $4 million. Included in the grants, $161,000 to Assisi House to convert the Holy Cross Rectory into a group home for women, and $100,000 to Room at the Inn for a 24-month transitional housing pilot program in North St. Louis County. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Today is the region's premier gathering of senior IT and security leaders. It's the Gateway to Innovation, or the G2I conference at the St. Charles Convention Center.
They're technology professionals, so think chief information officer, chief technology officer, all the way down to software developers and everybody in between.
G2I's Kristen Tucker right there says the opening keynote speaker is Vishal Amin.
He was an F-15 fighter pilot, and a data breach exposed his information, and he wound up on an ISIS hit list. He immediately was out of the military for his own safety, obviously. He built upon that experience, and now he's a cybersecurity expert who works with major companies all around the world trying to help protect people's information.
The afternoon keynote speaker is Kurt Lippold, the former commander of the USS Cole when it was attacked by Al-Qaeda in Yemen.
There will be cooking demonstrations with well-known chefs and bakers, a petting zoo, even a game show. It's all part of the Missouri Book Festival this Saturday in Washington, Missouri.
Kate Cleese is going to do our keynote on how to write a book.
so everyone can write a book.
Nelson Appel is the director of the Washington Public Library, where most of the action takes place. He says there will be food trucks and vendors with things for sale, but the event itself is all free.
You know what? Let's do this like the news. Let's get our national stories first, and then we'll tell you what happened locally. A couple of winners yesterday.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. The 76ers weathered the absence of Joel Embiid to defeat the Magic 109-97 in the NBA play-in tournament. Tyrese Maxey scored 31 points, while rookie VJ Edgecombe added 19 and 11 rebounds in his NBA postseason debut.
I was tweaking a little bit tonight, but I was able to sell in a little bit.
Steph Curry scored 35, and the Warriors rallied past the Clippers 126-121 to advance. The NBA says Charlotte's LaMelo Ball should have been ejected for an uncalled flagrant foul against Miami's Bam Adebayo. MLB, Shohei Ohtani struck out 10 over 6 innings of one-run ball as the Dodgers routed the Mets 8-2 on Jackie Robinson Day. And FIFA confirmed Iran will participate in the U.S. co-hosted World Cup. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
Gethin, we had some day here in St. Louis as the Cardinals took on the Cleveland Guardians, and Nathan Church came through again.
And the pitch to Church is hit down the right field line. It's a hit, then go into the corner, just inside the first base bag. Scoring is Urias, and it's 5-3 St. Louis. Third hit of the afternoon for the Cardinal left fielder, Nathan Church.
Church walked it off the day before with a sac fly that drove in the winning run. This time, he put the Cardinals up 5-3, and Riley O'Brien tied a bow on the day.
The 2-1 pitch on the way. Ground ball to the second baseman. Weatherholt has it. Throws to Burleson. That's a Red Bird winner. Light up the fireworks in downtown St. Louis as the Cardinals earned a split on the homestand by winning this series against the Guardians, taking last night's game in 10 innings 6-5 and winning today 5-3.
So far, so good for the Cardinals. They've played 6 series. They've won 4 of them. They're 10-8 on the season, and they'll visit Houston this weekend. And then up the road at Energizer Park.
Slingshots back toward him in the right corner now. McNaughton on the ground. Cross partially deflected. Totland wins it. Gets back to the top of the 18th.
Yeah.
Cello! Yeah, baby! Upper 90! Cello Hardo! City lead!
Joey Zanaboni with the call, and City was off and running. They win it 4-0 over FC Tulsa in their opening game of the U.S. Open Cup, and with that, they move on to the round of 16. Hartle opening the scoring for City right there in the 20th minute, and they went on to win, and will return to MLS action this Saturday facing the Seattle Sounders. That'll be on the road at Lumen Field. Kickoff set for 8:30 p.m. Central Time on Y98 FM. We had a fun night last night because KMOX also got to carry the action. No Cardinals game last night, so we checked in with some City and a 4-0 win over Tulsa. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals in City and the Billikens and the Chiefs. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
2026, I've been hearing from customers and friends that their utility bills went up quite a bit for their electric bill. That being said, and you're looking at buying a new air conditioner, or you're thinking, hey, I guess let's just get an air conditioner so it helps with the electric bills. If you have an old system, it definitely can help you. But watch your thinking. Just because you are told this is a so-called high-efficient air conditioner, it's not going to save you nowhere near what you think it's going to save you. Just replacing your old equipment is the biggest thing, and make your house efficient. An air conditioner is not going to make your house efficient. That being said, it's a great time to purchase an air conditioner if you get the correct one. Don't overspend. Don't believe the hype. In other words, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Call me, Bart Inman, at 314, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Church at third, Scott at second, Herrera at first. Ground ball that goes up the middle, over second, on through. That's going to score 2 on the base hit to center field. Herrera takes third.
Alec Burleson with the big hit. What a night it was. The Redbird Report brought to you by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission, $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Hey, it's 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a few more folks are on the highways, Debbie, but all in all, it's still a good run out there this morning. Northbound 55 seeing a little slowdown coming up between McNutt and Highway Z. It's also a little slow approaching 141 up to the Merrimack. The right lane's a little busy at Butler Hill and Bayless up to River to Paragon. Just slowdowns building along that route. Still seeing just the briefest of delays. 141 at Briarhurst. That's just north of Big Bend. Signals are on red flash there. Out to the west, we still look okay. Eastbound 70 coming in from Warrenton. Southbound 61 coming down to 64-70. Take your pick out of St. Charles County across the bridges. There are no delays there. And on the Illinois side, just a very brief slowdown on 64 westbound at 159 in Fairview Heights. But after that, you're good to go headed across the bridges. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Another Haverty's Furniture showroom is opening soon in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. With over a century of experience, Haverty's Furniture knows the best sofa is the one that fits your style, your space, and your budget. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself. A new location is opening soon in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Start browsing now at havertys.com.
They will have increasing amounts of sunshine, warm this afternoon, high 86. Thunderstorm late this afternoon and evening, low 63. Tomorrow, sunny, warm, and humid, high 86. And then tomorrow night, thunderstorms again with a chance for some damaging wind gusts. Right now, it's cloudy and 63 downtown.
It is now 6:22, and now more on a story that Tom and I were actually discussing during the commercial break. I'm like, what is this story about? Allbirds, the shoe company that built the concept of fashionable shoes made from sustainable materials, has announced they will change to a completely different company, AI Computing. Following this announcement, the stock jumped 580% in value. KMOX's Sean Malone spoke with Washington University economics professor John Horn to ask if this could be a sign of an AI bubble.
This time of the conversation, since that announcement this morning, the stock is up around 700%. So, John, when you hear that a company that has nothing to do with artificial intelligence and nothing to do with tech announces that they're becoming an AI company and their stock explodes in value, what's your response to that?
Well, yeah. So my initial response is it reminds me a lot of what happened 5 or a little bit over 5 years ago with the blockchain, where everything that suddenly got labeled blockchain suddenly became extraordinarily valuable, even if the company had nothing to do with setting up or using blockchains. I think what was happening back then was everyone was desperate to invest in blockchain technology because they thought it was going to be the next big thing. That anytime a company came out and said, "Oh, we're blockchain too," there was a rush of investment dollars towards those companies. This feels like the same thing, that just labeling yourself AI suddenly is like, we've got to find somewhere to invest in AI. Oh, they say they're AI, let's go invest in them. So it to me, it's very reminiscent of what happened, it wasn't even a full decade ago, but with the blockchain craze, and everyone's trying to find something to do with blockchain to invest in.
This can almost appear reminiscent to the .com crash as well from a couple of years even further back than the blockchain craze, where basically anytime a company needed more value, they would throw .com at the end of their name, and all of a sudden their value would explode. And obviously that bubble burst on the economy. Do you see any similarities to that situation with what we're seeing right now with AI, where again companies irrelevant to artificial intelligence can just label themselves an AI company and see a significant growth in value?
To me, the biggest connection between what happened at .com, 25 years ago, was that the assumption was if you're labeling yourself a .com or online business, you must be valuable. And at the time, there was not a real good understanding of the basic, I guess, the underpinning financials of, but how are these companies actually going to make money? And there was almost we've got to invest now because eventually they'll figure out how to make money. If you look at a lot of the AI companies, the ones that are developing AI, it hasn't really become clear how they're going to create sustainable, profitable businesses that will generate the revenue that justifies all the investment that's going into them right now. And so in that sense, to me, there's some overlap that people are investing and not necessarily looking at sort of classical returns using financial modeling that we would use for a lot of other industries, just sort of assuming that, well, if I invest now, the valuation is going to keep going up because it has been going up. And so therefore, I'll be better off in the future, without really thinking, but how are they going to generate revenue, and how are they going to control costs, and how are they going to make profits to actually pay me back from investing in them?
What does it say about the potential for an AI bubble that a company can just announce they are now switching brands entirely to an artificial intelligence company, and before you see any kind of work or any end product that they do as an AI company, their value grows significantly?
To me, the challenge is going to be, is this going to be attempted by other companies who try the same thing? And are there going to be enough companies where this happens and eventually investors say, wait a minute, they make shoes, this is an AI company, and then they pull out, and then it's, well, who do I trust? And then pull out even more funding from other companies that might actually legitimately be developing AI tools and technologies. And when the blockchain thing happened, it was a lot of investment in some smaller companies. We've seen this with meme stocks. It hasn't necessarily bled into the rest of the market or the rest of the industry. And I think that's the one thing I would be sort of trying to watch out for, is do we see, dozens, if not hundreds of companies trying the same thing? And then all at once investors saying, oh, wait, we weren't really looking at this the right way, and pulling money out. It's those sort of big shifts in investment and pulling money out that tend to really disturb the stock market and also the economy more broadly.
It is now 6:28, and the time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, with all these thunderstorms in the forecast, it's a good reminder to put this number in your phone if you can, 314-725-6159. That's 314-725-6159. That's the phone number for Gamma Tree Experts. It's a 24-hour line. And when it comes to storm damage in the St. Louis area, sometimes, when Mother Nature strikes, despite the best efforts of a regular tree maintenance program, no one can prevent that kind of damage. The tree damage caused by Mother Nature's wrath of high winds, tornadoes. And once that damage is done, you can count on Gamma Tree Experts for prompt professional help. It's reassuring to know that Gamma crews are well trained to work in these hazardous situations. I'm going to give you two phone numbers. One of them is 314-725-6159. And there's another one, and a second number is 314-470-1320. 314-470-1320. Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
It is 6:30. We've got cloudy skies. It's 62 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's jump over to Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, getting out on the area highways, it's a little slow in the usual spots, but not terrible right now. Northbound 55 looks okay down in the Festus Peevely area. We do have slow traffic, though, north of Richardson up to the Merrimack River in that construction zone. It's bogged down again from the Union Road overpass up to Weber Road. Some of that stop and go, really. And it's also backing up on North 270 briefly at 44. We had an incident, a stall near Big Bend, so it's slowed there. It looks like that's maybe been moved to the shoulder. Still seeing brief delays, 141 at Briarhurst north of Big Bend. We had signals on red flash there earlier. Some volume now on southbound 61 coming down from Highway P to 64. A few slow spots on the run through there, but once you get to 64 or 70, you've got a good run going coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges in downtown. The Poplar and Musel Veterans bridges are still clear, and westbound 64 right now looks okay at 159. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today, we have clouds giving way to increasing sun and a high of 86. Tomorrow, partly sunny, breezy, warm and humid, another high of 86. However, tonight, we could see some strong thunderstorms moving through, and tomorrow night, we could see some strong thunderstorms moving through. So it'll be decent during the day, stormy in the late afternoon and evening. Right now, it's just partly cloudy and 62 degrees.
It's 6:32. Newly released body cam video shows the shooting of 17-year-old Emishon Wilkins by an officer in St. Louis's The Ville neighborhood from 2 years ago. In a CBS News interview Wednesday, Emishon's mother and family attorney demanded justice for his death 2 years later.
The shooting took place in June 2024 when detectives attempted to stop a stolen SUV. Body cam footage released earlier this week shows Wilkins, the driver of the stolen vehicle, running into a vacant lot. The officer is shown chasing, yelling at, and ultimately shooting the Emishon in the back of the head. In the video, you can hear the officer yelling at Wilkins to drop the object in his hand, which he believes is a gun. Once Wilkins is handcuffed, the video shows it was actually a phone.
Here is his mother, Shayna Wilkins, speaking with CBS News.
It was hard. It was real hard because they kept saying that he turned around and pointed a gun. And I know my son, he wouldn't have did that.
Senator Josh Hawley is accusing State Farm of stonewalling St. Louis tornado victims. He sent a letter to State Farm's president and CEO demanding the company explain why hundreds of insurance claims from last May's deadly tornado are still unresolved. Hawley's office says it's been flooded with complaints. Claims slow-walked, settlements lowballed, temporary housing denied, debris removal ignored.
His timing is intentional. Just days before those storms struck, a State Farm executive sat before Hawley's subcommittee.
Does State Farm deliberately underpay claims? Do you engage in that behavior?
No, Senator, we do not.
Hawley points to State Farm's $12.9 billion profit last year as evidence they have the money to pay, and he wants answers by May 14th and says a federal investigation may also be on the way.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Bloomberg Money Minute is coming up next.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Nicholas.
If someone would have came to you at the beginning of the season, beginning of the regular season, and said, hey,
Jordan Walker's going to have more home runs, more RBIs, a higher OPS, higher batting average than Shohei Ohtani. What would you say?
Been saying you're crazy.
I'll take it. He's having an incredible season. He really, truly is.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Hey, St. Louis. Bob Stray here with Straight Windows. Let me guess, you've gotten some quotes on some new windows, and you had to look at it twice. I hear that a lot. That's why I started Straight Windows. I'm not here to give you a sales pitch. What I'm here to give you is a straightforward answer on what you need, what you don't need, and what it should cost. You're going to get quality windows, lifetime warranty, and no pressure. If you want a quote that you could feel good about, give me a call at 314-WINDOWS. That's 314-WINDOWS.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair. Their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
It is 6:36. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you caught up here on your money report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Verizon says it can't coast on claims that it has the best wireless network anymore. New CEO Dan Schulman says the carrier is now focused on improving the overall customer experience as it battles for wireless subscribers against its smaller rivals, T-Mobile and AT&T. The biggest banks on Wall Street didn't let record earnings stop them from trimming more than 5,000 jobs in the first quarter. The bulk of those cuts were at Wells Fargo, followed by Citigroup and Bank of America. JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley actually added staff. The Nasdaq and S&P both hit record highs Wednesday on hopes of peace in the Middle East soon. Brent crude also closed a bit higher at about $95 a barrel. And if you're looking to book a hotel room for this summer's World Cup, now's the time. The Financial Times says match day room rates in many host cities have dropped about a third from their peak earlier this year, mostly thanks to sky-high ticket prices, inflation fears, and the Trump administration's immigration policies. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
It is now 6:37, and we need to talk about your eyes. If you haven't had your eyes checked in a while, I'm telling you that it is worth it if you call Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000. Now, I am getting older, so I have to wear readers these days, but I no longer have to wear my regular glasses because Dr. Ranjan Malhotra diagnosed me with dry eye disease, which was actually making me think that my vision was terrible or getting worse, but it wasn't. He said, we'll actually make your vision improve, which I thought, yeah, right. When does that ever happen? But he was right. Doctors Ranjan Malhotra, also Dr. Greg Birdie, and Dr. Robert Brusati, Dr. Andy Royer. They are the doctors, experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Yes, they will also have you read the eye chart to make sure your prescription's okay, but they do so much more. So you want to make sure that your eyes stay healthy and that you catch things early for the best treatment possibility. Cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, dry eye, allergic conjunctivitis, so much more. And yes, they do LASIK surgery. Why don't you give them a call? Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, or online at youridoc.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norb Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is 6:40. Time to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got slow traffic on northbound Highway 55 in the usual spots. Debbie, this traffic reports the service of Artistic Decks. That means there's slow traffic midway up from Richardson to the Merrimack. There's a little slowdown in the right lanes coming through Madison at 270, and all lanes back up from the Union Road overpass to Weber, but it's still slow up through Holly Hills. On northbound 55, northbound 270, north of the Sappington Road overpass, all the way up to about Big Bend. We had that earlier incident near Doherty Ferry. It was a minor crash. They cleared it. It's also a little slow at Manchester and at 64 after that. Southbound 61, kind of off the pace between P and Wentzville Parkway, but then it sorts itself out after that and moves pretty well. On Highway BB, just south of Cedar Hill, we have a report of trees and wires down in the roadway, so I'm not sure if the roadway is completely blocked. It was earlier, but I do see delays in the area, so pay attention. Just expect at least a little bit of a wait in traffic headed there. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Let's check in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. It was a loud storm moving over my neighborhood last night. Rattled me out of bed, Joe.
Oh, there was some damaging wind gusts with that. There was also some flooding downpours. Some places had 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain with those thunderstorms when they came through last night. They're gone. The rain associated with that is gone. And it's just a matter of time before the clouds give way to sunshine today. We'll rebound nicely into the mid-80s this afternoon. I think the record for the date is 90, but that's safe for another day. Just be on the lookout for a pop-up thunder shower late this afternoon and this evening. I think those stay south and southeast of the city. Otherwise, tonight, partly cloudy skies, so we'll wake up the temperatures in the mid and upper 60s. Tomorrow, one more very warm day ahead of a cold front. Partly sunny skies, our high temperature about 86. Then tomorrow night, that front comes through the area and will produce strong thunderstorms that can produce flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts. So obviously, severe weather in play. But behind it, maybe a shower first thing Saturday. Otherwise, a windy, much chillier day. Clouds give way to some afternoon sun, the high close to 60. Mostly sunny skies Sunday and Monday, about 67. Sunday, maybe mid-70s on Monday. 59 degrees at St. Peter, 60 in Florissant, cloudy, and 62 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is 6:43. With Congressman Eric Swalwell stepping down, attention is now turning to whether other lawmakers could face similar pressure. Growing calls for accountability on Capitol Hill as multiple investigations into members of Congress continue. CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small on who else could be at risk.
McCormick for allegations of money laundering. She was also under an investigation by the House Ethics Committee that found that she actually did commit those crimes that she's accused of. Simultaneously, she's also at the center of a criminal investigation into her handling of COVID-era funds.
That would be Florida Democrat Sherphillis McCormick that he is referring to. The Justice Department is taking a new step in cases tied to the January 6th riots, asking a court to vacate some of the most serious convictions. The move targets a group of defendants convicted of seditious conspiracy, including members of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, and it's already drawing sharp reaction. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga has more on what's behind the shift.
Seditious conspiracy requires a proof of a coordinated plan to use force against the U.S. government. Prosecutors now signaling doubts about whether that standard was properly met. This is highly controversial because these are the most significant January 6th convictions, and undoing them could reshape how accountability for January 6th is defined in the courts moving forward.
A federal jury has delivered a major blow to the live entertainment industry, finding Ticketmaster and its parent company Live Nation illegally operated as a monopoly. That ruling could have far-reaching impacts on ticket prices and competition, though any changes will come later. We get more from CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman on what the verdict means and what happens next.
After 4 days of deliberation, a federal jury found that Live Nation, the concert giant that owns Ticketmaster, illegally operated as a monopoly in violation of antitrust laws.
The cost to own and operate a new car is up 40% since 2020. CBS News consumer business and tech reporter Maya Blackstone says the cost of a used car has jumped 25% in the past 6 years.
As of early 2026, the average used car price was over $25,000. It's interesting because a massive decline in new car sales between 2021 and 2023, connected in part to the chip shortage and also a lot of pandemic factors, it led to fewer trade-ins and lease returns. And so also because new cars are becoming increasingly expensive and unavailable, buyers are flooding the used car market, which is causing prices to soar.
Good Ricky Orton on John Rooney at Busch Stadium yesterday. The Cardinals scored 3 times in the 6th inning on the way to a 5-3 victory and a series win, 2 out of 3 against the Cleveland Guardians.
Dustin May did a good job on the mound, picking up his second straight victory. Jordan Walker was able to extend his hitting streak with a double late in the game. Alec Burleson with a huge hit in the middle of the game, driving in 2.
Burleson had a 2-hit day, and it was Nathan Church with a 3-hit day. He drove in the Cardinals' last run.
Also good offense from Pedro Pajes behind the plate. Jojo Romero and Riley O'Brien were outstanding out of the pen.
Dustin May improves to 2-2 with the win, beating Connor Brogdon 2-2. Riley O'Brien was great in earning his 5th save. As the Cardinals beat the Guardians 5-3. They're off today, and they're in Houston, where they'll play the Astros tomorrow night. Kyle Leahy will get the start. We're on the air at 6:15.
There are a lot of players of the game today. Nathan Church with 3 hits, but Pedro Pajes came up with a big hit. Not only that, but moving those runners along in a key situation, I thought might have been the turning point in the game for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's something we work on a lot. I had 2 opportunities early in the year. I didn't get the job done, and I told Ollie, I was like, hey, if it comes again, I'll do it. I know I could bunt. I know I could get it down and help the team win, so I'll do that.
How important in that situation is not to overswing and not to be too aggressive and let the play come to you?
Yeah, and, at the end of the day, I'm trying to simplify everything. So, don't worry about too much of what's going on out there. Just have a good approach, have a good plan, and sticking to it. So no matter if they dot a pitch or anything, just kind of sticking to my plan and just going from there.
Pitching staff was really good today from start to finish.
Yeah, they were great, man. Dusty started off with a great outing, and then after that, bullpen came in, did their job. We scored when we needed to, and we got that dub.
I know you guys play every day, but last night was a huge win for you guys. What sort of momentum does that bring to the ballpark the following day?
I think it's just we never give in. Every game we're always in this, no matter how many runs we're down, no matter what the situation is, we're always going to compete out there, and we do a good job of that. We've shown it this year, and hopefully we just start winning more games from the beginning and not have to come back, but we'll still give in every time.
Well, you get a fresh start in Houston on Friday. Nice work today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Pedro Pajes is our player of the game.
Thank you, Claves. Major League Baseball celebrated Jackie Robinson Day with every player, coach, and umpire wearing his number 42 to mark the 79th anniversary of the infielder breaking the sports color barrier. Robinson debuted for the Brooklyn Dodgers on April 15th, 1947. The Dodgers won last night. They beat the Mets 8-2. Joe Buck called that game on ESPN. 4-0 win for St. Louis City SC over Tulsa FC. In the U.S. Open Cup, they advanced to the round of 16 after that victory at Energizer Park. Who's hot, who's not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. You want to talk about a great company, all you need to do is go to stlcompost.com. First thing you see at the top of the page is a cubic yards calculator. What is that? All you do is click on that. You put in your size and dimensions of your space, and the calculator assumes everything they designed in the garden is reasonably symmetrical. They know that's not usually the case, so you choose the basic shape calculator that best suits your needs, and you can figure out right then and there how many cubic yards of mulch, soil, or compost you need. It's incredible. You know what else is incredible? Their menu of mulch: oak bark, natural, leaf, black forest, screened chips, color enhanced starburst, magic black, dark walnut mulch, pine bark mulch, on and on it goes. Certified playground mulch. It's all right there. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. All hail Spamalot, the Tony Award-winning best musical comedy that will have you laughing your coconuts off. The Washington Post declares Monty Python's Spamalot is the funniest musical on Broadway. Entertainment Weekly calls it a hilarious fun fest. The Washington Post says it's unfair to laugh this much. Get your tickets now for the musical comedy event of the year, Spamalot, playing the Fabulous Fox May 5th through 17th. Tickets at fabulousfox.com.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:51, time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're headed into downtown from the Illinois side, it looks like we got a little trouble on westbound Highway 64 just past 3rd Street. It looks like there's a crash and traffic jam back onto 70 near Exchange, so be prepared. That's just popped up in the last few minutes. Northbound Highway 55, approaching 141 to the Merrimack, still slow. Union Road overpass up through Holly Hills is busy. North 270, north of 55, through Gravois and Big Bend up through Manchester, kind of slow. A brief delay at 64 after that. Southbound 61 looks a lot better, just a little busy crossing over onto 64. Looks like we have an incident eastbound 70, a stall or a crash just east of 370, a little bit of a jam there. And I'm still seeing it's more of a jam now on Double B south of Cedar Hill, is right near 3B Road. That's where we had a tree and wires down there trying to get that reopened for you as we speak. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Gravely Zero-Turn Mowers. Your reputation matters. That's why so many landscape professionals choose Gravely. You can save up to 20% on Gravely commercial mowers during the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event going on now through the 19th. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Well, we see a little blue sky and some clouds as well overhead in downtown St. Louis, and these clouds are going to give way to increasing amounts of sunshine. Very warm this afternoon, says Joe Lundberg, a high of 86. A thunderstorm in spots late this afternoon and evening, mainly south and southeast of the city, low 63. Tomorrow, another warm, humid day, a high of 86, and then strong thunderstorms Friday night that we'll pay attention to, and that's going to cool things off for the weekend. Currently, it's 61 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues on Total Information AM. How long will it take the St. Louis Public School District to get its finances back in order?
So we're going to have some necessary but very hard decisions to make. But I do believe that within the next 2 to 3 years, you will certainly see that we will have a balanced budget.
New Superintendent Dr. Myra Michelle Berry, speaking on KMOX's Total Information AM, says next year's budget will still reflect deficit spending, but the following fiscal year, she says, will require big adjustments. The Missouri State Auditor has warned the district could face insolvency within the next decade if those deficits persist.
A Missouri House bill would add new graduation requirements for high school students. The bill would require 2 units of Black history education. Concerns were raised during a hearing about out-of-state transfer students. Republican Representative Brad Banderman addresses the bill's sponsor. Democratic Representative Lakeisha Bosley
And now they have to take 2 course requirements in order to be able to graduate from a high school in the state of Missouri, unless that state had something that is equal to this, is the way I'm reading it. Is that accurate?
No. So the school district may elect to waive those requirements for those scholars that come in.
Only one person testified in support of the bill with no opposition. If approved, it would take effect starting in the 26-27 school year.
Illinois is one of only 8 states without a statewide ban on cell phones in the classroom. Could that change?
Illinois lawmakers are debating a ban on phone use in schools for the second year in a row. The bill would ban phones all day in elementary and middle schools, while high school students would be banned from their phones with the exceptions of breaks and lunch. According to Capital News Illinois, the bans would be implemented by the 2027-2028 school year if the bill is passed. But some opponents worry about the costs. They cite a school district in Peoria that spent $250,000 on locking pouches used to secure the phones. While some states offer grants to cover the cost of these pouches, the bill at play in the Illinois State House does not. I'm Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Next delivery to him, he bunts, and it's going to be a tough play for Arenado on the move, and he threw him out. Rojas thought he was safe, and Nolan Arenado read that perfectly, started charging. The minute Rojas's hands went up on the bat.
One of the best to ever do it. We still love him. Nolan Arenado, now a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He is 35 today.
The birthday shout-out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Barbara Hayter, Ed Mayuga, Susan Gobo, Pete Sadlow from Number One, and Bill Mulder from the Addams Family.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey, let's talk for a moment about how you can save some money. Everybody's talking about how expensive everything is these days. I totally get it. So you don't want to be wasting money on things that you don't need to waste money on. Like, for example, that subscription that you're paying every month for magazines and newspapers and audiobooks. You can get all of that for free at St. Louis Public Library. You like to read a lot of books? You know, they have millions of books at St. Louis Public Library. And there's even an app where you can just, whatever book you want, just go to the app and reserve it, and they'll let you know, like, your book is here, ready to pick up. It is so convenient. And like I said, a money saver. Find out more about all of the ways that you can save by getting your St. Louis Public Library card if you're a St. Louis City resident, St. Louis County resident, or a St. Charles County resident. I say it's worth its weight in gold. SLPL.org is St. Louis's original search engine, St. Louis Public Library.
Our annual Customer Appreciation Days are back. Save 10 to 20% on your garden and landscape needs on April 24th through 25th. Visit www.chesterfieldvalleynursery.com for more details. KMOX will be live on site Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Who's the greatest basketball player of all time? Michael Jordan? LeBron James? Some people would tell you neither. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he's celebrating a birthday today. He's 79. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still have this jam on eastbound Highway 70 coming up from Mid-Rivers up to 370. I can't see what's blocking. I can see a crash off the roadway on the North Service Road just before you get to Cave Springs. So maybe that's what everybody's looking at. But there's nothing that I can see blocking the roadway at this time. Other than that, eastbound 70 is a little slow at TR Hughes. Northbound 270, 55 through Gravois, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, Clayton Road up to 64, kind of busy. Northbound 55, north of Richardson to the Merrimack, the Union Road overpass up to Holly Hills. That's heavy. They cleared that crash westbound 64 at 3rd Street, just a little heavy on 64 past 70. Next update is 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday, April 16th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. The shoe company Allbirds is now an AI company, and their stock has surged by almost 600%. Coming up, I speak with a Washington University professor about whether or not there's a bubble.
Coming up, Missouri House takes up a bill to require Black history education for graduation.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Mostly cloudy, breezy today, and not as warm as yesterday. A couple of showers, even a later afternoon thunderstorm, the high 79.
Church at third, Scott at second, Herrera at first. Ground ball that goes up the middle, over second, on through. That's going to score 2 on the base hit to center field.
Cardinals just keep coming through. They're 10-8. We'll have the latest on them next.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The end may be near for a budget-friendly airline. A year after it filed for bankruptcy, multiple reports say Spirit is at risk of going under as early as this week. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve is at Bush Intercontinental in Houston.
As the price of jet fuel has nearly doubled since January, driven by the conflict in Iran, airline sources now tell CBS News some of Spirit's creditors question the airline's ability to make debt payments or return to profitability, which could lead the discount carrier to run out of financial runway.
Spirit says it is still selling tickets and operating normally this morning. The head of the International Energy Agency is warning Europe has about 6 weeks of jet fuel left. He says it could lead to flight cancellations if the Strait of Hormuz doesn't reopen soon. President Trump says Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and Lebanon's president could speak directly today. The BBC's Hugo Bachega is in Beirut.
This is an indication that President Trump is paying attention to what's happening here in Lebanon, that there could be an element of American pressure on Israel to get a ceasefire here. This has been a key demand by Iran in its negotiations with the U.S.
They can't seem to catch a break from bad weather in this nation's midsection. CBS's Rob Marciano.
Severe storms pummeled the Midwest for a third day in a row. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, torrential rain falling at more than an inch an hour Wednesday night, causing flash floods. And heavy rain leaked through the roof of the Brewers Stadium in the middle of the game.
Ethan Hebby rode out the storm with his newborn son in Sussex, Wisconsin.
He was born actually here in this house. So with the first 48 hours, he had 2 tornado warnings. We were in the basement twice.
A new review finds the benefits of Alzheimer's drugs are negligible.
The health research network Cochrane concluded 7 drugs that target the proteins that form plaques in the brains of Alzheimer's patients have little clinical benefit. Some Alzheimer's experts were quick to criticize Cochrane's review, saying it unfairly lumped 5 failed drugs with 2 that have shown they can slow cognitive decline and have been approved by the FDA. Most experts agree targeting those plaque-forming proteins will not be the entire answer to curing Alzheimer's. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The man behind New York City's drunken bar crawl, SantaCon, has been busted for allegedly pocketing more than half of $2.7 million that was supposed to go to charities. Michael Shirafo's nonprofits among them.
Money that was allocated for the purpose of helping organizations like us, and we're struggling, and somebody's off, using it for not that purpose.
This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast.
Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
At 7:04, we have a cloudy sky, but some blue sky poking through there. It's 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. We're going to warm up today to the tune of 86. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. Days ahead of his trip to London, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page was in court hoping for a judicial order to help him retain power.
Just hoping to block an ordinance which would give the powers of the county executive to Chairwoman Rita Hurd Days if he were to leave the country on the inaugural British Airways flight from St. Louis to London. I asked Page why he waited until the week of the flight to take this legal action.
Chairwoman Days told me this wasn't a big deal to her. She didn't care. It wasn't her deal. She didn't sponsor the ordinance, and I took her to word. It wasn't a big deal for her.
Page says statements from Hurd Days in recent days about the department heads raised concerns she might take significant actions as county executive. The attorney representing Hurd Days and the council argued Page and the county councilor did not give them enough time before the hearing, and a lawsuit like this is the wrong legal action. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX has reached out to Chairwoman Hurd Days and has not heard back.
When we do hear the judge's decision, it could go a number of ways, according to KMOX legal analyst Brad Young.
The court could say that this county charter and the statute that was passed, those are both held in abeyance for a briefing period of time, which would allow Sam Page to travel to Europe this weekend. The TRO could be denied. The judge could say no. The county charter on its face says absence from the county, and going to Europe certainly constitutes absence from the county. So the court has several options here.
Young does not believe this provision has never been used in the county before.
Senator Josh Hawley is accusing State Farm of stonewalling St. Louis tornado victims. Hawley sent a letter to State Farm's president and CEO demanding the company explain why hundreds of insurance claims from last May's deadly tornado are still unresolved. Hawley's office says it's been flooded with complaints, claims slow-walked, settlements lowballed, temporary housing denied, debris removal ignored. His timing is intentional. Just days before those storms struck, a State Farm executive sat before Hawley's subcommittee.
Does State Farm deliberately underpay claims? Do you engage in that behavior?
No, Senator, we do not.
Hawley points to State Farm's $12.9 billion profit last year as evidence they have the money to pay. He wants answers by May 14th and says a federal investigation may also be on the way.
The police chief of Ellsbury is out after less than 7 months on the job. According to the Lincoln County Watch, Chief Chris Walter resigned after a closed-door session after returning to the department as chief last September. In response, 2 other officers have stepped down, and the police department's Facebook page has been taken down. Billy Sutton has been named interim chief.
Murder charges have been issued following breakthroughs in a Soulard missing persons case. 24-year-old Ross Harris was reported missing by his family after leaving his Soulard apartment April 4th. According to St. Louis police, detectives arrested a 27-year-old man who was romantically involved with Harris on Tuesday. The arrest came after officers searched the man's home and found evidence that led to 3 charges, including first-degree murder and abandonment of a corpse. Harris's body has not yet been found.
From the KMOX business desk, Missouri gained 1,500 jobs from February of last year to this. That's according to new data from the state's February jobs report. The industry that saw the most increase in employment was in mining, logging, and construction, while the industry with the largest decrease was state government. Missouri's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate was the same as last February's, with the non-seasonally adjusted rate only decreasing by 0.1 percentage point.
We'll see how traffic looks in just 2 minutes at 7:08.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me. 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit lombardohomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, it's 7:10, and actually in downtown St. Louis, we've got blue skies and sunshine, so those clouds have really cleared out quickly. We'll get the latest from our AccuWeather meteorologist in just a moment, but here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And the highways are doing okay. I mean, for the most part, if you're headed around the area, the only place we really have a jam on the interstates right now, Debbie, is on eastbound 70. It actually slows down right around 79, and it jams east of Mid-Rivers. The problem is this crash I mentioned. They're just hauling the one vehicle away. It looks like on the flatbed. One of the cars went through the cable median barrier on Veterans Memorial Parkway alongside eastbound 70 there between 370 and Cave Springs, and that's the reason eastbound 70 is bumper to bumper through that entire stretch. If you're on northbound 270, you have slow pockets as you ramp on from 55 to Gravois. Doherty Ferry up through Clayton Road. There's a couple of places where it slows down once again. We still have those signal problems. 141 at Briarhurst, just north of Big Bend. Traffic's jammed back pretty close to Helfrich right now on northbound 141. Northbound 55 a little slow. Approaching 141 up to the Merrimack. The ramp to North 270 is heavy. Union Road overpass up through Holly Hills is kind of busy. Other than that, the rest of these highways are looking all right so far. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mostly cloudy today, breezy, not as warm as yesterday. A couple of showers throughout the day, even a thunderstorm later, the high 79. Those thunderstorms late this afternoon and early tonight can be severe with damaging wind gusts, hail, and flooding downpours. Lingering clouds late tonight, those 65. Clouds break for some sun tomorrow. A warm day, high 85. Friday, some sun, then increasing clouds, breezy, very warm and rather humid in the afternoon with a chance of a thunderstorm. Friday's high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Nice looking morning in downtown St. Louis. Partly cloudy sky. It's 61 in Florissant, 61 in St. Peters, and 61 down here, downtown at the Arch.
It's 7:12. A Missouri conservation official calls mutilated paddlefish found in Lake of the Ozarks grotesque. Joe Jarek is with the Missouri Department of Conservation and tells KMOX the agency is investigating the fish recently found in Lake of the Ozarks. In a post on social media, the paddlefish have vulgar words carved into their sides. Jarek says a local guide alerted the State Department after catching the fish, which were still alive.
And that alone would be a violation of the Wildlife Code of Missouri, because those fish legally taken by snagging, snaring, or grabbing have to be retained by the person taking them. So they can't just be tossed back in the water.
The department is asking anyone with information to report it to their game thief hotline.
A Clayton chiropractor described in court as the ringleader of a massive opioid and healthcare fraud scheme gets sentenced to more than 8 years in prison. 53-year-old Jerry Dale Leach was ordered Wednesday to serve 100 months and repay $4.7 million to Medicare, Medicaid, and the military's TRICARE. Prosecutors say Leach orchestrated a conspiracy in which doctors wrote oxycodone prescriptions with no legitimate medical purpose, accounting for nearly 95,000 pills while billing federal health programs for bogus lab tests.
2 doctors involved in the scheme have already been sentenced to prison. Leach pleaded guilty back in 2021. The lengthy gap between his plea and his sentencing has not been explained in court documents.
A major push to ban intoxicating hemp products is getting plenty of pushback from the hemp industry. In just 10 days, Governor Mike Kehoe's office received 10,000 handwritten letters asking him to veto a bill that would make the products illegal. The letters come from hemp farmers, small business owners, and others who say the legislation would essentially wipe out the state's hemp industry.
The hemp ban would also be more restrictive than a provision from Congress signed by the president. A spokesperson for the governor says he hasn't made a decision yet whether to sign the hemp ban bill, but Attorney General Hanaway supports it. She's already sending cease and desist letters to businesses that sell intoxicating hemp products.
From shoes to AI, the company Allbirds announced they're giving up on their footwear brand and will become an AI company instead. The result, their stock price surged 580% yesterday. WashU professor John Horn says this is more similar to the blockchain craze from a few years ago than the dot-com bubble. However, he says he still sees a similarity to when companies would add .com to their name in order to raise their stock price.
And at the time, there was not a real good understanding of the basic, I guess, the underpinning financials of, but how are these companies actually going to make money? And there was almost we've got to invest now because eventually they'll figure out how to make money.
Horn says it's similarly unclear how many of these AI companies will become profitable.
Pitch to Churches, hit down the right field line. It's a hit and going to the corner. Just inside the first base bag. Scoring is Urias, and it's 5-3 St. Louis. Third hit of the afternoon for the Cardinal left fielder, Nathan Church.
He came through on Tuesday with a sac fly in the 10th to get a walk-off win against the Guardians, and he comes right back at him yesterday. Church, the starter in left field, went 3 for 4, scored a couple of runs, and drove in that run, but the Cardinals had some work to do to close this game out, and they did just that. That run came in the 7th inning. It was a big insurance run, and Jojo Romero was pitching at the time, an inning and a third for Romero of scoreless ball, and Riley O'Brien shuts the door in the 9th. It's our cut of the game from the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net.
The 2-1 pitch on the way. Ground ball to the second baseman. Weatherholt has it. Throws to Burleson. That's a Redbird winner. Light up the fireworks in downtown St. Louis as the Cardinals earned a split on the homestand by winning this series against the Guardians, taking last night's game in 10 innings 6-5 and winning today 5-3.
Both sides of it. Even in talking to Dusty just a minute ago, recapping that game, there's a lot of things he did well behind the plate and how they navigated that lineup. And so defensively, yes, with throwing out the runner and then gets down a really good bunt, takes some good at-bats. You even have him advancing on that throw, taking third. We had to do a lot of little things today. And I feel like our guys were day game 12-15, show up on point in a lot of different areas. That's a good team across the way. They're managed well and they play the game the right way. So you have to be on point in a lot of areas in order to take a series from them. I felt like we did that.
A lot of respect for the Guardians from Ali Marmol and singing the praises there of Pedro Pajes, who did have a good game behind the plate and at the plate, drove in a run with a base hit. Cardinals won the game 5-3. So off to a good start this season, all things considered. They're 10-8. They've played 6 series. They've won 4 of them. And now they go on the road to take on the Houston Astros. It's a 7:10 start tomorrow night on KMOX. Also successful yesterday, St. Louis City SC. Let's take a listen to the final call.
Time in the second half. Here in a rainy downtown West St. Louis, the head referee Ben Servando says, let's stop it right here, boys. Final score, St. Louis City 4, Tulsa 0.
Joey Zanaboni with a call 4-0. FC Tulsa goes down as the U.S. Open Cup gets underway at Energizer Park, and City advances to the round of 16. We carried that game on KMOX last night. It was a fun doubleheader for us. We'll have more sports on the way at 7:45, including our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Don't miss that. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Growing a brand is hard, but reaching the right customers shouldn't be. Meet Outcomes from Viant. We've built an intelligent platform that handles the complexity of digital advertising for you. Powered by advanced AI, we help your brand show up in the right places at the right time and ensure that every dollar you spend leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's talk for just a moment about your outdoor space and if you're getting the most use out of it. Because if you have a great outdoor space, it is just a continuation of your home. And it really does have a lot of value when people step out onto that beautiful deck or into that sunroom, screen room, walk down the stairs to that patio covered by a pergola that has, I don't know, a built-in barbecue grill and a nice retaining wall. I mean, I'm hoping painting a good picture because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is known for doing incredibly high quality products that last. That makes it a great value. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. So that should help for sure. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. You can stop at their showroom in the Chesterfield Valley and get a good idea of all of the things that you could have in your outdoor space. Or if you already know, they'll come to you. They do free in-home estimates, free project design. Just give them a call or visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfieldfence.com, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best.
Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Roger Brand, you're in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our jam, Tom, on eastbound Highway 70. We had a crash up just east of 370, and there's a jam back through Mid-Rivers, and it actually starts slowing at 79 as you come eastbound on Highway 70. So just be prepared for that backup as you get out of the St. Peter's area on your way into work this morning. It looks like it's just the right lanes getting through here right now. So if you're headed that way, just be prepared. Eastbound Highway 370, just west of 94 up through the Discovery Bridge is slow. Northbound 270, delays as you ramp on from 55 to Gravois. It bogs down again north of Big Bend up to about Clayton Road. Still those signal problems. 141 at Briarhurst. You're backed up to about Helfrich there. Northbound 55. The right lanes are kind of busy at Butler Hill. It backs up Bayless to Weber, and then slow up through Holly Hills after that. On the Illinois side, starting to see slow traffic. Both sides of 159 on westbound 64. After that, it's not bad headed for the Poplar. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Looking at the forecast, the sun has returned to downtown St. Louis for sure. Those clouds have moved right out. So here's the interesting thing about today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow, we're going to have lots of sunshine and a high both days of 86. However, tonight and tomorrow night, we have strong thunderstorms moving through. So we get the sunshine during the day and then the thunderstorms in late afternoon and overnights. The storms that move through tonight will just be in spots, but tomorrow night they could be strong with flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts. Right now, just sunshine, 62 degrees downtown.
The news continues at 7:22. A boutique marketplace with locations across our area shut down, leaving dozens of local small businesses blindsided, out of booth space, and in some cases, out of money. KMOX's Michael Calhoun reports on the makers behind St. Louis clothing and housewares.
Welcome to Painted Tree Boutiques.
where creativity and community come together.
Painted Tree Boutiques built its brand as something different, not a big box store, not an online marketplace, but a physical space where local makers could set up shop, build a following, and sell their work the way they wanted to. At its peak, the Arkansas-based company had more than 60 locations nationwide, including 2 in the St. Louis area. Monday morning, it sent a single email. It was over.
I've been with Painted Tree for 2.5 years, and both locations, and we got an email out of the blue that said we are no longer open yesterday, and we have 10 days to get all of our things out. And there was no follow-up of what happens next, what happens to our deposits, what happens with the money that we've already made this month, nothing whatsoever. So it was really out of the blue. We kind of had a feeling that it wasn't doing well. A lot of brick and mortar stores aren't doing well because, online sales, but they were still promoting and getting new vendors.
Natalie Von Till is a mixed media artist who had booths at both area locations for 2.5 years. Emily Parada runs Jane of All Trades STL and had been at the Baldwin location for just over a year after watching the Maplewood store struggle and choosing not to renew there. She says there were red flags, but vendors held out hope.
Recently, they got a new CEO, and with other new developments, we thought maybe there was a little bit of hope they could turn things around. And then, yes, we got the email yesterday, late morning, about all the locations closing nationwide. So it was quite a shock, but not a complete surprise.
Beyond the loss of store space itself, vendors are now chasing money. The company botched a transition to direct deposit last fall, missing payments heading into the holidays. Some are owed hundreds of dollars, others more.
I know of people in other locations who are owed hundreds, probably thousands of dollars. I am not one of those, but we were getting paid late, and they kept on sending emails to the vendors saying they're trying to work out the kinks, and it never really did. Honestly, I don't know if they'll see any of that money. I don't think they will. So a sad situation.
Von Till says she is owed about $700 for the sales made so far this month. Parada went to the Baldwin location on Tuesday morning to clear out her booth. She says most spaces were still full, and vendors with inventory spread across multiple states are in the toughest spot.
The email gave us about 10 days, it said, but then people were nervous about landlords maybe locking us out. I went this morning and cleared out my booth. There was still a lot of booths still full with inventory, but there was several people. Part of the problem is a lot of these vendors are in several locations across the country. So some vendors from St. Louis might be in the Kansas City locations or the Chicago locations. So they have to figure out how they're doing this. Are they going to hire people to do it? And people are really trying to help each other out and saying, hey, I'm in this location. I can help whoever out, help pack up or whatever. They are supporting each other. So that's good, but it is very hard.
For artists like Von Till, who juggled Painted Tree alongside a full-time job, the marketplace was a way to build something without having to do everything herself. Now she's rethinking how to move forward.
I have a full-time job. So this was kind of like a little side hustle dream of mine to build this art business. And so it was great to bring my things there and then walk away and not have to do the everyday of running, a brick and mortar, and then being able to follow up online with customers, should they reach out. And I do art shows in the St. Louis area. So it's a great way to promote my art shows and get people from the store coming there or sending them there after a show. So it's really difficult in this world of technology to have a small business when you're up against YouTube and TikTok, and you have to be all of those things now to really get people's attention. So I guess I'm really going to have to learn how to sell online to to keep up with the loss of the store.
Vendors have until April 24th to retrieve their inventory. The company says it is, quote, heartbroken by the outcome. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It is 7:28. The time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
It is 7:30, and we've got blue skies, sunshine, and 62 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We also have Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they cleared that crash. They're moving it up the road on eastbound 70 east to 370. We had that, and then the one on the service road just east of there that caused traffic to jam. Well, it's slow at TR Houston. It's jammed at 79 right now. But again, all lanes look like they've been reopened. Maybe the right lane's partially blocked. Like I said, they're sort of disappearing up around the bend out of sight, so it's hard to tell. But the backup should be getting better. Eastbound 370, you have stop-and-go pockets about midway in from El Newtown to 94 up through the Discovery Bridge in the work zone. Eastbound 64, as you cross over from southbound 61, is slow up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and it's a little slow from 170 into about Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton headed out to Big Bend. There's a few slowdowns. Northbound 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55. It's slow through Gravois, then north of 44 all the way up to Ladue. Busy. Southbound approaching Ladue is a little slow. Still have that backup on northbound 141, Helfrich up to Briarhurst. North of Big Bend, where those signals are still on red flash. Northbound 55, the right lanes are slow up Butler Hill. It backs up Union Road overpass to Weber, slow through up to Holly Hills. Westbound 64 delays 50 through 159 and Ball Avenue to the 70 split. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg with the very latest, telling us increasing amounts of sunshine today. We're going to get a high of 86 degrees, but a thunderstorm in spots late this afternoon and evening, south and southeast of the city. Otherwise, patchy clouds, warm overnight, low 63. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warm, high 86 again, but strong thunderstorms again tomorrow night could produce flooding, downpours, and damaging wind gusts. Right now, it's 62 downtown at the Arch.
Senator Josh Hawley is using State Farm's own words against them as he investigates why St. Louis tornado victims are still waiting on insurance payouts. In testimony given just before last May's tornado, Hawley confronted State Farm Operations Vice President Michael Keating with whistleblower reports alleging the firm routinely alters damage estimates to avoid paying claims. Keating, under oath, denied that practice.
No, we would not do that, nor do we direct anyone to do that.
Well, this same whistleblower says, and I quote, "More concerning was the alteration and deletion of factual findings in my reports. In many cases, I documented legitimate damage to vinyl siding that warranted full elevation replacement, only to have the estimate changed to reflect piecemeal spot repairs, contrary to manufacturer specifications and professional standards."
Respectfully, Senator, I'm unaware of the details, surrounding these allegations, but we certainly follow the recommendations of, based on the standards as that person referenced.
Hawley says 30,000 local families are being, quote, held in contempt by the company.
Newly released body cam video shows the shooting of 17-year-old Emma Shawn Wilkins by an officer in the Ville neighborhood in 2024. In a CBS News interview Wednesday, Emma Shawn's mother and family attorney demanded justice for his death 2 years later.
That shooting took place in June of 2024 when detectives attempted to stop a stolen SUV. Body cam footage released earlier this week shows Wilkins, the driver of that stolen vehicle, running into a vacant lot. The officer is shown chasing, yelling at, and ultimately shooting Wilkins in the back of the head. In the video, you can hear the officer yelling at Wilkins to drop the object in his hand, which he believes is a gun. But once Wilkins is down, the video shows it was actually a phone.
His mother, Shayna Wilkins, spoke with CBS about her son.
Goofy, always wanting to make you laugh. I was a child when I had him. I was 17 when I had him. And he was 17 when he got killed. And so we kind of grew up together.
It is now 7:34. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. There are real things to talk about amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Your Money Report at 7:37, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Live Nation shares dropped following a verdict in New York finding it illegally monopolized ticketing markets by stifling competition and raising prices. Its shares closed down 6.3%, the most in more than 5 months. Now, a judge will determine damages in a separate proceeding, but dozens of states are now calling for Live Nation to sell Ticketmaster. FanDuel and DraftKings just poured $41 million into a new super PAC ahead of midterms. It's part of a broader effort to expand legalized sports betting across the country. Right now, only 38 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized sports betting, whether online or in person. And SpaceX is planning to take potential investors on a tour of its sites in California and Texas to showcase its facilities. The company has filed confidentially to go public and is seeking to raise as much as $75 billion at a valuation of more than $2 trillion. SpaceX could publicly file for the IPO later in May. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
The Biz-5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis, an office party like no other. Create your company team today at stlbiz-.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, let's talk about refinancings, and let's just bottom line this. Everyone needs money at some point in their life.
You know what, Dave? There's so many different ways you can make money. Number one, go to a lower rate. If you financed over the last 3 years, chances are you're paying a higher rate than what you can today. Refinance with the Bagel loan, no closing costs at all. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are concerned not about the cash flow, but overall interest that you're paying. Go from a 30-year to a 20-year. The rates are lower on a 20-year versus a 30-year. Save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And third is the really easy way. You need cash. I need cash. Take cash out. Refinance now. Take the money you need. Keep the payment the same. It's easy. It's simple. All with no closing costs with that Bagel loan.
If you're looking to save money, get a little cash to your pocket and do it with the right person, give Stewie a call or a text on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS 226715.
Step into a world of mystery and beauty with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in From Mozart to Wagner, Mysticism and Wonder. Conductor Hannu Lintu leads a luminous weekend from Wagner's shimmering Lohengrin Prelude to the grandeur of Respighi's Church Windows. Pianist Jan Lisiecki makes his SLSO debut to perform one of Mozart's spellbinding piano concertos April 18th and 19th at Powell Hall. Tickets at slso.org.
Working hard but still falling behind? Learn how real estate investing can help you build income and move forward with purpose. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Get inside your Redbirds and the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
741, bright sunshine after a stormy overnight. We'll have the latest on the weather and the storms coming up in just a moment. But first, your update on the ride in from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're jammed on eastbound 370, Debbie, about midway in from Elm Newtown to the Discovery Bridge due to road work. Eastbound 70 is getting better, but there's heavy traffic. Wentzville Parkway into 64. It's slow at TR Hughes to 79, jam 79 to Mid Rivers, but then it picks up the pace from the earlier crash we had at 370. Southbound 61, approaching Wentzville Parkway into 64 to about the Boulevard's heavy. Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake is slow, and then you get busy again from about Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton out through Bellevue's heavy, and then it's slow again from Lindbergh out to 270. North 270 from 55 all the way up to Ladue is slow the whole way through. Northbound 55, the right lanes through Butler Hill, all lanes from the Union Road overpass up to Holly Hills is stop and go. On the Illinois side, westbound 64, 50 through 159 heavy, and then 3rd Street to the Poplars busy after that. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
AccuWeather.com. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We're going to see a drop in temperature, but we'll enjoy these next couple of days.
Oh, it's still going to be warm the next 2 days, Tom. We're expecting a high of 86. The clouds have begun to break for some sunshine, and out to the west, nothing but sunshine. I think that moves our way for today. Again, our high 86. Could be a spotty pop-up thunderstorm south and southeast of the city late afternoon or evening, but I think most of us are dry. Warm overnight, 63. Partly sunny, breezy, very warm, kind of humid tomorrow, high 86. But a big front is going to come in, and it means business tomorrow night. It's going to produce some thunderstorms that probably will produce downpours and gusty winds, a threat for some severe weather for sure. Then behind that front, maybe a shower out of the gate Saturday, but otherwise a windy, much chillier day, only 60. As clouds give way to afternoon sunshine. Sunshine will dominate Sunday with a high of 67, mid-70s with sunshine on Monday. Right now, 58 at St. Peter's, 59 at Florissant. The sun has come out at 61 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. The coolest thing made in Illinois, that's in quotes, recently helped astronauts go to the far side of the moon.
The NASA Standard Initiator is an electrically activated pyrotechnic device that played a critical role in the recent launch of the Artemis II Orion mission. On April 15th, after an 8-week competition, the Initiator, made at ChemRing Energetic Devices in Downers Grove, won the 2026 Makers Madness contest, earning it the title of the coolest thing made in Illinois. Roger Plummer, News Radio, 105.9 WBBM.
A bill moving through Springfield, Illinois would set new rules for electric bikes, scooters, and other high-speed electric devices. Backers say the status quo has become dangerous. Injuries and deaths tied to those devices jumped 300% nationwide between 2019 and 22. Secretary of State Alexi Janulia says it's not about slowing down new technology.
This is not about limiting innovation. It's about making sure innovation does not outpace public safety.
Under the proposal, riders of e-bikes capable of exceeding 28 miles per hour would need a driver's license, registration, and insurance. The Senate passed the measure unanimously yesterday and now goes to the House. Who's the MVP of the Cardinals in the first month of the season? Got to say Jordan Walker, right? 8 home runs, leading Major League in home runs right now. It's been phenomenal. But I would say right on his heels, Cardinals found themselves a closer. He's really good. He's Riley O'Brien. I had a chance to chat with him.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on the outing. Last night leaned on the tighter slider a little more, but then some outings, leaning on the sinker. So it's just kind of depending on what the report is on the hitters and how things are feeling that night. But yeah, all the pitches have been feeling really good.
And then just overall, when you look at where you've come to now, I mean, that injury in spring training, had to feel good about bouncing back from that and getting to this point.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, that injury was a bummer for sure. And I wish I could have participated in the WBC, but I think the reason I didn't is so that I could be prepared and have the start of the season that I've had so far. So I'm glad that it worked out. I was able to take the time in spring, get the body right, and feel 100% going into the season. And so far, things have been going well. So I think it worked out well.
Always fun to chat with you. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Boy, and he looks good. Here he is yesterday, 9th inning. Cardinals up 5-3 against the Guardians.
The pitch. Swing and a miss. 1 out in the 9th inning as Martinez strikes out. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Hoskins strikes out. 2 batters up, 2 batters out. The 2-1 pitch on the way. Ground ball to the second baseman. Weatherholt has it. Throws to Burleson. That's a Redbird winner. Light up the fireworks in downtown St. Louis as the Cardinals earned a split on the homestand by winning this series against the Guardians, taking last night's game in 10 innings 6-5 and winning today 5-3.
Cardinals are 10-8 on the season. They will visit the Astros this weekend. Day off today. 7:10 is the start tomorrow night on KMOX. Last night we had soccer, a rarity. The assist from the goalkeeper.
Oh, lasered long at St. Ben! Wow! On one bounce! Berkey hammers it out of the back, and Sangbin flicks a header past the keeper. How about that? What a goal! And Sangbin gets his first goal of 2026.
2-0, 36 minutes.
4-0 was the final. St. Louis City SC defeats FC Tulsa and advances in the U.S. Open Cup to the round of 16. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. Innsbruck is fantastic. What a day this would be out at Innsbruck. Maybe still a little time to get those fish this morning, and they'll be back very active this evening. Fishing is the best at Innsbruck. Over 100 lakes opportunities, 100 lakes at Innsbruck to fish. And not only that, but they have 7,500 acres to explore. Hiking trails all throughout. Fantastic pool. Great spot for the summer to enjoy a concert. And it's just an awesome place to relax and unwind. Oh, did I mention an 18-hole championship golf course with a restaurant and a bar right there? Everything is there at Innsbruck. It's one of the best places we've settled in for years as a vacation spot, and it's so easy to get to. It's just 45 minutes from our house, an hour from downtown. It's Innsbruck, innsbruck-resort.com. All right, it's time for our parlay of the day. It's sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. What did I tell you yesterday? I told you yesterday, the NBA, those two play-in games, we nailed them both, didn't we? I said Golden State on the road +5. That one seemed pretty easy to me. They won. And also, we had the Magic. I didn't like the way they looked at Boston. Guess what? Magic lost in that pick'em. I had Philadelphia over the Magic. So got them both right. So here we go. Let's do it again. And let's see what we have today. This is for tomorrow's play-in tournament. Hornets -4 at the Magic. I'm going to go Hornets on that one and beat up the Magic again. And I'm going to ride the wave on the Warriors at the Suns +3. Golden State +3. Circa Sports parlay of the day. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circasports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circa Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:50 and time for traffic and weather. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, driving in on eastbound Highway 370, Debbie, we're backed up east of Elm Newtown all the way through the Discovery Bridge in the work zone. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, about midway in from David Hokel to Wentzville Parkway, kind of slow into 64, east of K to 79, 370 through Cave Springs are all just kind of slow stretches there. After that, not so bad. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway onto 64 at the Boulevard's busy. Annie Guns to about Timberlake. Lindbergh in through the Innerbelt, some delays. Westbound 64 slow. East of Hampton, headed out through Bellevue. Clayton Warson out toward Ballas. South 170, busy at Olive, and then it's a bog down from Ladue to 64. North 270, as you ramp on from 55 all the way up to Ladue, is heavy. Northbound 141, we still have the signal problems at Briarhurst. Northbound 141's backed up almost pretty much at 44 now, so it's a lot tougher going that way. Eastbound 44, east of 141 to Miraz is busy. Northbound 55, you've got that backup from about the Union Road overpass in pockets all the way up through Virginia. Westbound 64, a little slow across the Poplar, and also heavy 50 past 159. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, we're looking at a sunny day today, says AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg, with a high of 86 degrees. A thunderstorm south and southeast of the city, mainly in the afternoon and evening, says Joe, low of 63. Tomorrow, same thing, sunny, breezy, warm, more humid, high of 86. And then Friday night, some strong thunderstorms that he says could be severe, flooding, downpours, damaging wind gusts on Friday night, and then that'll really cool things off for Saturday, a high not far from 60. Currently, we have 62 with sun downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:52. Hey, remember us telling you last week about the St. Charles City Council race that was decided by just one vote? Well, the state law does require them to have a special runoff election to break the tie between Bill Otto and Chris Kyle, but that would cost about $30,000. So it's been decided that the winner of that race will now be determined by drawing a name out of a jar. While very close races are not terribly uncommon, a tie between two candidates is extremely rare. And again, this one came down to one vote.
More than $1.7 million has been awarded in grants by the St. Louis Archdiocese to help foster more affordable housing across the region.
For the third consecutive year, the Archdiocesan Annual Catholic Appeal is handing out grants to local groups dedicated to increase housing for vulnerable individuals and struggling families. This year, a total of more than $1.7 million will be awarded to 7 local groups, bringing the 3-year total to nearly $4 million. Included in the grants, $232,000 to Catholic charities to help build the Caritas House, an 11-unit transitional housing building in Festus, and $150,000 to Peter and Paul Community Services to renovate a full floor of apartments located on its community campus in the city of St. Louis. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Today is the region's premier gathering of senior IT and security leaders. It's the Gateway to Innovation, or G2I, conference at the St. Charles Convention Center.
They're technology professionals, so think chief information officer, chief technology officer, all the way down to software developers and everybody in between.
G2I's Kristen Tucker says the opening keynote speaker this morning is Vishal Amin.
He was an F-15 fighter pilot, and a data breach exposed his information, and he wound up on an ISIS hit list. He immediately was out of the military for his own safety, obviously. He built upon that experience, and now he's a cybersecurity expert who works with major companies all around the world trying to help protect people's information.
The afternoon keynote is Kirk Lippold, the former commander of the USS Cole when it was attacked by Al-Qaeda in Yemen.
The Missouri Book Festival is this Saturday in Washington, Missouri. Nelson Appel, the director of the Washington Public Library, where the bulk of the activities take place, says there's something for all ages.
Cooking tent, which is our big showpiece tent, where celebrities and authors who have cookbooks are going to do demonstrations of their cookbooks.
That includes Leah Holter from Made by Leah and Chef Trent, winner of Hell's Kitchen Young Guns. There's even a Do You Know Mo game show. The event runs from 9 to 2 Saturday, and it is free.
Forest Park, also free, and has been named the best city park in the United States for the third time. The park was named in the 2026 USA Today Reader's Choice Awards, marking the third time in the past 5 years that the park has won this award. Forest Park's Variety Wonderland Playground also took home 4th place in the Best Public Playground category.
The move comes as the park turns 150 this year, which will be celebrated with the reopening of the Glade in late 2026. Park officials say the site will feature more than just a restored skating rink and will have activities year-round.
One more interesting note when it comes to urban gardening, St. Louis ranks 4th best in the nation after Atlanta, Miami, and Houston, according to Lawn Starter. St. Louis scored highest when it comes to community gardens, 2nd in the nation.
7:56.
I'm Dave Glover. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Let me put this in simple terms. You can't put your estate planning documents in a drawer and forget about them. That doesn't help your family when it matters most. My family has trusted the Laterman Law Firm here in St. Louis with our estate planning for over 20 years, and here's why. What sets them apart is they don't treat estate planning like a one-and-done thing. They treat it like what it really is, a living, breathing plan. You see, they build your plan to protect your family, your assets, and your wishes, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it updated as your life changes, because it will. Family needs change. Assets change. The law changes. You know, many people don't realize how many plans out there are outdated until it's too late. That's why we stick with the Lederman Law Firm and the annual process they offer to help keep our plan up to date with changes over time. If you're in the St. Louis area, including Illinois, and you want real peace of mind, check out the Lederman Law Firm. It's spelled Laiderman law.com, Ledermanlaw.com, or call 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
All dog owners, if you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, traveling eastbound 370, we've got that backup, that heavy traffic coming in from Elton Newtown through the Discovery Bridge. It's a pretty solid jam the whole way through there. If you're going to go eastbound on Highway 70, in that area, it's not so bad. It's a little busy up the hill from Mid Rivers to 370, past Cave Springs, and east of the Blanchette into 270, 364. Coming in for the Heritage Crossing area toward 94. Muga's a little busy. Eastbound 64, you've got slow traffic past Prospect. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We've just heard from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on the Iran war. He says the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will remain in place until Iran agrees to the president's #1 demand, that it give up its nuclear ambitions.
The U.S. military moved seamlessly from major combat operations to a world-class blockade. We can make that transition again, very quickly and even more powerfully than ever.
Joint Chiefs Chair General Dan Kane
will actively pursue any Iranian-flagged vessel or any vessel attempting to provide material support to Iran.
The head of the International Energy Agency is warning Europe only has about 6 weeks of jet fuel left. Spirit Airlines taking off and landing on shaky financial ground, in part because of surging jet fuel costs. Multiple reports say it could go under as soon as this week. That would be a big hit for smaller airports. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Tim Kroll is the Atlantic City Airport director. He says Spirit is about 85% of their business.
We're hopeful that they'll be able to get through their restructuring, but we just have to wait and see what happens.
Spirit says it is operating normally this morning. New Russian strikes on Ukraine overnight have killed more than a dozen people, making it the deadliest attack of the year so far. CBS's Aidan Stretch reports from Kyiv.
Nearly 700 drones, 19 ballistic missiles targeting cities across the country. The impact here in the capital was particularly brutal. 16 people that were killed in last night's strikes. 4 of them died here in the capital, including a 12-year-old boy.
National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard wants the Justice Department to investigate 2 officials who triggered President Trump's first impeachment.
One is the unnamed whistleblower who raised concerns about Trump's 2019 phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, during which Trump urged Zelensky to investigate then former Vice President Joe Biden.
You take a look at that call, it was perfect.
The House impeached Trump, but the Senate acquitted him. Gabbard also wants the DOJ to investigate former Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson, who informed Congress of the whistleblower's complaint. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A new report from Adobe finds an explosion in the number of us using AI to make online purchases. Analyst Vivek Pandya.
Industries like travel, financial services, media and entertainment. When we think about financial services, that traffic is up 158% year on year.
Dow futures are up 122. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute. Y'all came in singing for me today. On CBS Mornings.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, April 16th. I'm Megan Lynch. Days ahead of his trip to London, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page was in court hoping for a judicial order to help him retain power.
Page is hoping to block an ordinance which would give the powers of the county executive to Chairwoman Rita Hurd Days if he were to leave the country on the inaugural British Airways flight from St. Louis to London. I asked Page why he waited until the week of the flight to take this legal action.
Chairwoman Days told me this wasn't a big deal to her. She didn't care. It wasn't her deal. She didn't sponsor the ordinance, and I took her to word. It wasn't a big deal for her.
Page says statements from Hurd Days in recent days about the department heads raised concerns she might take significant actions as county executive. The attorney representing Hurd Days and the council argued Page and the county councilor did not give them enough time before the hearing, and a lawsuit like this is the wrong legal action. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX has reached out to the chairwoman. We have not heard back. When lawsuits like this are filed, who pays and who represents the county executive and council? We asked KMOX legal expert Brad Young.
Well, unfortunately, the taxpayers are paying for all of this. The county executive is stating this is something that deals directly with his powers and authority as the St. Louis County executive. And the county council then, of course, is hiring attorneys to defend this. Now, they do have the option of using county attorneys that are already on staff, but most of the time when you have these specialized lawsuits, they hire outside counsel, and there is actually a budget for that. So we're paying for both sides of this litigation.
Senator Josh Hawley demanding answers from one of the nation's largest insurance companies. The Republican U.S. Senator calling out State Farm CEO John Farney for what he calls slow-walked and underpaid insurance claims from St. Louis tornado victims. Just before those storms last year, Hawley asked a State Farm executive during a subcommittee hearing about whistleblower testimony describing a hellscape of fraudulent behavior.
Do you retaliate against whistleblowers?
No, we do not.
This witness says, and I quote, "It is also my professional concern that whistleblower retaliation is a very real threat within the State Farm system. Others before me have experienced severe consequences for speaking out, and I have reason to believe similar retaliation could result in the end of my ability to work in this industry," end quote. What's your response to that?
It's inconsistent with the State Farm that I know and that I've experienced for 32 years.
Hawley, who chairs the Senate Subcommittee on Disaster Management, gives State Farm until May 14th to respond to a list of detailed questions. He also says he welcomes a federal investigation into State Farm's business practices. Small business vendors across St. Louis picking up the pieces after Painted Tree Boutiques abruptly shut down every one of its locations nationwide.
The company sent a single email Monday, its last day open, telling vendors they had 10 days to clear out. Natalie Von Till is a local mixed media artist who had space at both St. Louis locations.
There was no follow-up of what happens next, what happens to our deposits, what happens with the money that we've already made this month, like nothing whatsoever. So it was really out of the blue.
Emily Parada, who operated a booth at the Baldwin location, went in to clear out her space and found most of the booths still full. She says vendors who had inventory spread across multiple locations around the country face the biggest challenge.
A lot of these vendors are in several locations across the country. So like some vendors from St. Louis might be in the Kansas City locations or the Chicago locations. So they have to figure out how they're doing this.
Some vendors say they are owed hundreds, in some cases thousands of dollars, with little expectation of seeing it paid back. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, Missouri gained 1,500 jobs from February 2025 to 2026. That's according to new data from the state's February jobs report. The industry that saw the most employment increases, mining, logging, and construction, while the industry with the largest decreases, state government. Missouri's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate was the same as last February's, with the non-seasonally adjusted rate only decreasing by 1/10 of a percentage point. Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to tell you about Good Shepherd Academy for Boys. It's a first-of-its-kind preschool designed to serve boys age 3 to 5 in the North St. Louis area. And then we're going to tell you about a Missouri tavern. It's gone viral for its trick beer stein. Missouri Net's Bill Pollock is going to talk with Jessica Holland. She's owner of Northtown Tavern and Pizza in Fredericktown. Plus, we're going to get more on the economy with Jill Schlesinger and Charles Gasca, an economist and assistant vice president with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Traffic and weather coming up in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times, some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Growing a brand is hard, but reaching the right customers shouldn't be. Meet Outcomes from Viant. We've built an intelligent platform that handles the complexity of digital advertising for you. Powered by advanced AI, we help your brand show up in the right places at the right time and ensure that every dollar you spend leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10 here on Total Information AM. Let's try to get you around the slowdowns on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still backed up on eastbound 370 east of El Newtown up through the Discovery Bridge in the construction zone. Eastbound Highway 70, a little busy. Cave Springs to Sunbelt, 5th Street into Ward Highway 270. If you're on eastbound 64, that's busy crossing over from 61 most of the way to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. A little heavy Chesterfield Parkway west to Clarkson. We have an incident at just before Lindbergh, eastbound 64 backed up from about Ballast to there, and then it's on the brakes again from 170 to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton out to Hanley, delays. South 170, U Club Towers. So it looks like it's south of Brentwood right now, really. Northbound 270, you've got slow traffic from Tesson Ferry all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 44, Bowles to Mraz, busy. Northbound 141, better, but still a jam coming up out of Valley Park, at least Helfrich up through Briarhurst because of those signals. Eastbound 44 is also slow. Elm to Laclede Station 55. Bayless up through Holly Hills is heavy. And westbound 64, just a slowdown now, both sides of 159. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. There are plenty of clouds today, breezy and not as warm as yesterday. There'll be a couple of showers, even a thunderstorm, the high 79. But those thunderstorms late this afternoon and early tonight can be severe, with damaging wind gusts, hail, and flooding downpours. Lingering cloud late tonight, those 65. Tomorrow, clouds will give way to some sun. A warm day, high 85. Friday, some sun followed by increasing clouds, breezy, quite warm and rather humid. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm, the high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny skies this morning, 58 degrees, both in Florissant and St. Peters, and we've got 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for joining us this morning here on Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. A new preschool planned for North St. Louis will focus only on boys. The Good Shepherd Academy for Boys first of its kind preschool designed to serve boys ages 3 to 5. It's funded in part through city ARPA and community block grant funds and operated by the Foundation for Strengthening Families. Founder and Executive Director Cortega Collins joining me now. Cortega, good morning and welcome to KMOX.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Our first question when we saw this was, why the focus on boys alone?
Because in the traditional early childhood settings, the natural behavior of boys is often disciplined, and they are not allowed to be themselves authentically, which prohibits them from having a positive academic experience. So we wanted to create a space where boys could be themselves authentically, where they can learn social emotional development, because we want to make sure that when they enter kindergarten that they are ready, not just academically, but socially, emotionally, developmentally. And sometimes in traditional early childhood settings, they don't get their unique needs are not met.
One thing that I've often heard, Cortega, is that for boys, they learn by being active. And sometimes in like traditional school settings, they're made to just sit still and try to focus. And it's just not part of their nature when they're little.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Boys are most of the time, boys are tactile learners. They learn with their hands. They learn by doing, and they don't like to sit still. Boys are just naturally inclined to be active, to be moving. And so when you're creating an academic environment, you want to create a space where learning is the ultimate goal, right? And so learning and teaching is not, you can't use a cookie cutter approach to education. So you have to differentiate instruction and experiences. And so that's one thing that will set apart the Good Shepherd Academy for boys is that they will be allowed to learn through play and not have developmentally inappropriate expectations placed upon them, which will inhibit the learning process.
But then how do they learn once they get to kindergarten after having a model like this to deal with the structure of probably what regular school is going to be?
Right. So when we say learn through play, that does not mean that there's a lack of structure. Learn through play, there are still times where they have to do things, and we introduce those concepts to them when they're developmentally ready. So we'll get the boys when they're 3. We'll have 2 academic years to get them to the place where they do have to sit down, where they do have to be confined to a space, for lack of a better term. But they learn those through activities, through real world examples, they learn through being able to participate in activities and things that interest them. So once they get to kindergarten, their mind will be shaped more for sitting still. That's more of a time for them to sit still.
I'm curious, for a lot of families and boys, is there a pattern if they get into school and they can't handle the structure because they do learn tactily? Do they get in trouble a lot? I mean, does that kind of set them up for failure through their academic career?
Absolutely, 100%. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to create the Good Shepherd Academy for boys, because again, like I said, in the traditional early childhood setting, what they're naturally inclined to do is often disciplined, and especially for boys, they experience. There are disparities in disciplines for boys in their early childhood setting. So absolutely, once they get to the preschool setting, if the instructors don't understand that boys need to learn and be in different kind of spaces, then absolutely they're more harshly disciplined, even to the point of suspension, which again negatively impacts their academic outcomes.
Now, this is planned for North St. Louis. You've got a groundbreaking coming up. Tell us a little bit about how this is structured and how it's going to be funded long-term to make sure it's sustainable.
Yeah, so the construction process is funded through funds that were available through the CDA, through ARPA funding and CDBG funding, as well as NAP tax credits and donations. And so our sustainability plan is obviously fundraising and taking part in some government programming that will fund the seats, and donations from philanthropists and those people whose giving priorities align with the importance of early childhood education.
How much demand is there for high quality preschool in the communities that you're going to be serving?
There's a huge demand, especially for the area that we're in, the West End, Wells Goodfellow, and Hamilton Heights area. There are very few high-quality early childhood education facilities in this area. I think there are only maybe 3 accredited centers in this community, and then there's a huge gap in service for this community. There are way more children that need care than are available seats.
What's the timeline for the project?
So construction is going to begin tomorrow, actually, and construction is anticipated to take about 6 months. So sometime around October, November of 2026 is when the building will be finished, and we are still figuring out when we're going to open the doors for the first group of scholars, but it will be fall of 2026.
Cortega, I'm curious about staffing. How do you find the qualified staff that you need?
So we have been in communication with organizations that specifically reach out to male educators, because the model is that we want to have for the Good Shepherd Academy for Boys is for their teachers to have male teachers, to have a male presence in the school. And so we're reaching out to organizations that have a high male presence to try to recruit the most qualified staff, but we also have women as well who will be working in the classroom. So we'll have a male-female team, ideally, in each classroom. So we're, reaching out to schools, organizations that focus on males in education.
So if people are hearing this and they're interested about your model, where can they find more information about the Foundation for Strengthening Families?
They can go to our website, which is fsfmissouri.org. And then they can find out about the Good Shepherd Academy for Boys and all of the other programming that we do around the region.
Cortega, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for having me.
That is founder and executive director of the Foundation for Strengthening Families, Cortega Collins, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up, the Iran war has businesses across the country holding back on some key decisions. Charles Gascon with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis is going to join me in studio coming up at 8:40 this morning. We're going to run down the latest snapshot of our region's economy. But up next, there is a small tavern in Missouri. It's gone viral for a trick beer stein. We'll tell you more. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads. We do have a number of slowdowns. Roger Brand is watching them from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, a few of them in Illinois right now, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. In fact, it's actually a jam westbound 270, 203. It's either a crash or a stall. I haven't seen anything from IDOT about it yet, but it's midway between the Canal and Chain Rocks bridges, maybe closer to the Chain Rocks. So there is lane blockage. And again, it's jammed at 203 on westbound 270. Westbound 5570, that's slow. 159 to 157, westbound 64, both sides of 159 are busy. On the Missouri side, still have roadwork delays, eastbound 370, west of 94 through the Discovery Bridge, eastbound 70 between Mid Rivers and 370, a little busy, 94 into the 141 area or city, eastbound 64, Prospect to the Boulevard, slow at Clarkson. I can't tell what's at Spady either. I haven't seen what is there that's blocking, but you're backed up through 270 on eastbound 64, and then it's still slow McKnight to Big Bend, westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, still heavy, north 270, Sappington through Gravois, slow, and then 44 all the way up to Ladue, you're bogged down, 44 still kind of busy, Elm, Laclede Station area, 55 across River to Pears, kind of heavy. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, we're going to have sunshine. It'll be very warm this afternoon with a high of 86. We could see some thunderstorms again late this afternoon and this evening. Otherwise, patchy clouds, warm overnight with a low of 63. Currently, sunny skies, 60 downtown at the Arch.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
It's Tom Ackerman for the great company, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. 1926, a century of service. Here's to the garage door, the largest piece of moving equipment in our home. The garage door, sometimes we take it for granted. It goes up, it goes down. You just rely on it every single day to do what it does. Well, what if it doesn't someday? That would be a problem. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will keep your garage door reliable by checking it out. Just get it tuned up, make sure that it's running smoothly, and they can do it for any brand.
You don't have to get it from them. Any brand of garage door, overhead door company of St. Louis will take care of that for you. Same-day service, too. 314-781-5200. 314-781-5200. And don't be fooled by the imposters out there. There's only one overhead door company of St. Louis, the one with the red ribbon. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
I'm Megan Lynch. Welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. 80 miles south of St. Louis, a tavern and pizza parlor has gone viral for a trick beer stein.
Holy wrong way to grab it.
If you put it down, you give up.
There ain't no way. Oh, this is not 35.
Missouri Net's Bill Pollack spoke with Jessica Holland, owner of Northtown Tavern and Pizza in Fredericktown.
So I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see people inside your bar trying to drink a beer. I'm assuming beer is inside this mug, and they're trying to pick this up with one hand and they can't do it. And I'm watching this going, what are they doing? What is the trick to this? And then I read the description. It's a 35-pound beer stein. Is that what it is?
Yes, it is a 35-pound stainless steel beer stein, and it only holds 12 ounces of liquid.
All right.
And it can be beer, or if you're a non-drinker, it could be water or whatever you prefer.
Yeah, and so the trick, the bar trick to this is you have to pick this up with one hand and take a sip out of it without spilling?
You have to pick it up with one hand by the handle. It can't be resting on any body part, and you have to, once it's up, you have to finish all of the drink before putting it down.
Okay. Well, I don't think I've seen anyone do that yet because it starts sloshing around and people can't even get it to their mouth. And, yeah. Well, how did you come up with this? How did you come up with this idea?
To be quite honest, I did not even want to purchase the mug. We were sitting here one evening and someone said something about this prank mug that they saw online, and so it was a very expensive purchase, and I was very hesitant on purchasing it. And my boyfriend, who's also my co-owner, said, "Oh, just do it." And so I joked and said, "Okay, we're going to make it a challenge, and you got to help me get at least 20 people to try this to make up the price of the mug." And the very first friend of ours who came in and did it, the video was absolutely too hilarious not to post, and then we just went viral from there.
Yeah. So now when you say did it, you mean attempt, or actually did they?
Attempted. He attempted it. It probably took about 5 contenders before someone actually was able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 35 pounds is pretty heavy when you think about it. You got to do it with one hand too.
Well, and it's not like it's 35 pounds like a dumbbell. The weight is not distributed equally. So because it only holds 12 ounces, the whole 4 inches of the bottom of the mug is just solid stainless steel. So it's kind of bottom heavy, if you would say.
Yeah.
So when you pick it up, it instantly wants to turn down, and that's why everyone spills it.
You started posting these videos of people trying to drink out of a 35-pound beer mug. You started posting these on TikTok, and it's gone viral. How popular has your place become since this?
It's been extremely popular. On Facebook, we went from 1,200 followers to I think we're up to 23,000 now. TikTok, we went from 138 followers to 73,000. Like just this past weekend, we had people who drove here 6 hours from Kansas City, Missouri, just to try the mug. That was their whole purpose in driving down here.
That's Jessica Holland, Northtown Tavern and Pizza in Fredericktown, Missouri. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You voted, we listened. On Friday, April 24th, the Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and Busch Stadium is going dark. That night, you will receive the all-new Cardinals jersey, Dark Mode, presented by Phillips 66. This fan-selected look was brought to life for the ballpark and designed to stand out in the stands. A limited giveaway you can only get at the game. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Victor Scott II. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Soar with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Rachmaninoff's Third. Taking Flight. Assistant conductor Samuel Hollister and pianist Gabriela Montero make their SLSO classical subscription debut in Prokofiev's thrilling Third Piano Concerto. Enjoy Gabriela Smith's sky-inspired Tumblebird Contrails, Rachmaninoff's Third Symphony, April 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Let's get the latest on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're getting better on westbound 270 for Madison County drivers. This traffic reports the service of I-3 broadband. It's still backed up 203 to about Route 3, but the incident west of Canal Bridge is cleared, so it's getting better pretty quickly. Eastbound 370 still slow, 94 to the Discovery Bridge. Eastbound 70, 94 to 270. That's slow. Westbound 70, heavy traffic at the city limits. Eastbound 64, slow Chesterfield Parkway West. It backs up, though, Timberlake into 141 because of an incident. And then we have this crash that was in the left lane, eastbound 64 before Lindbergh, so it's jammed west of 270 for that one. Westbound 64 Hampton, head out to Big Bend is heavy. Northbound 270 from Gravway pretty much all the way up to Ladue. You're still pretty busy. 44 east of Elm through Laclede Station, slow. Northbound 55, you got the heavy traffic, Bayless up through the Holly Hills area. Westbound 44, there's an incident just past 55, so it's backing up about midway back to the Poplar. And westbound 5570 now, we've got a crash just west of 255 near Black Lane, so there's a jam there. Spring is here. Take time to toss out that dusty treadmill and get rid of your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Salika Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're going to have sunshine today, very warm this afternoon with a high of 86, but we could see a thunderstorm in spots late this afternoon and this evening. Cloudy overnight with a low of 63, and then partly sunny, breezy, very warm and humid tomorrow with a high of 86. Right now, sunshine 60 downtown at the Arch. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ composite indexes surged to new all-time highs Wednesday. Investors seem to shrug off inflation and concerns about the economic impact of the Iran war.
We've got some numbers out of some of the biggest banks who did very well. And some of those banks are credit card issuers like JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America. And they are not seeing consumers pull back on their spending. And I think investors really focused on that and said, hey, maybe the economy will do okay, presuming the war in the Middle East ends soon.
That's CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
I think what it tells us is that many investors are looking past the war in Iran, saying there are talks happening, that's good news, and that we're now going to refocus our efforts on our companies making money. We're in earnings season right now.
But for the average consumer, things are still pretty tight.
Gas prices have come down, but just a bit, by 7 cents a gallon from a week ago. But we're still over $1 more per gallon. And as we've been talking about, a lot of people's tax refund is going to be sopped up with those extra costs.
Plus, Schlesinger says there are concerning numbers out on home ownership.
Housing affordability has really gotten out of touch for so many Americans. We saw the share of first-time home buyers drop to just 21%. And that's from the National Association of Realtors. It's the lowest number on record going back to the early 80s.
We'll check on business sentiment with Charles Gaskin of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. He joins me in studio coming up at 8:40. Your Money Report from Bloomberg next.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Breaking news for your home. Way Day. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Way Day long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair. And all up to 80% off during Way Day. Shop Wayfair's Way Day from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Spirit Airlines may be running out of runway. The budget carrier could liquidate as soon as this week. Spirit's finances have been squeezed by rising jet fuel prices. Sources tell us any decision could come as soon as this week. Spirit has been in ongoing talks with its creditors, and its plans could change. Spirit declined to comment. Checking on the markets, the S&P 500 closed at a record high yesterday. Investors are optimistic about the U.S. and Iran restarting peace talks. However, the Dow fell 72 points. This morning, Wall Street is continuing to watch every geopolitical development out of the Middle East. Stock futures are ticking higher. And the next time you order from the Dairy Queen drive-thru, you might be talking to a chatbot. According to the Wall Street Journal, the chain is expanding a test of an artificial intelligence chatbot to several dozen locations. The chain wants the technology to help speed up service and entice customers to add more food to their tab. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman here. So many reasons why you should go with Chesterfield Fence and Deck for your next outdoor project. Patios, pergolas, sunrooms, screen rooms, fences, decks. They invite everyone to visit their showroom located in Chesterfield. Beautiful displays, free in-home estimates at no obligation, free project design. Products which are the best in the business include fences, decks, custom sunrooms. Chesterfield Fence and Deck also features their own line of aluminum fencing. All of their products guaranteed by a 5-year labor warranty, best warranties in the industry. But I would say the fact that they've been in business since 1968, that's how you know. locally owned and operated for 58 years under the same ownership. That's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The Illinois House considering a bill that would ban phones all day in elementary and middle schools in the state, while high school students would be banned from their phones except during breaks and lunch. A Missouri House bill would add new graduation requirements for high school students. The measure would require 2 units of Black history education. And a study in China found that loneliness could increase the risk of valvular heart disease by 19%. It's 8:40. Let's get a check of the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, if you're coming in on eastbound Highway 64, we still have a couple of jams. The first one's getting better, but it's still bumper to bumper through the Chesterfield Parkways due to an earlier incident. We had at 141, and then they're loading up the car on the flatbed, but they still have left lane closed eastbound 64 right just before Lindbergh, so it's still jammed back to 270. South 270, south of Olive is slow. North 270, north of Gravois, all the way up through 64 and Ladue, still busy. Westbound 64, Hampton, headed out to Big Bend. There's heavy traffic there. Northbound 55, slow north of Bayless up through Virginia. Westbound 44, it's a stalled semi just west of 55, but they have it's on the shoulder, but they have the right lane blocked for it. So westbound 44 is backed up just pretty close to the Poplar Street Bridge. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, 94 into our cities, heavy westbound 70, Riverview headed out through Lucas Hunt slow. And we still have this crash on westbound 5570 at Black Lane. Traffic's jamming approaching 255. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Gravely Zero-Turn Mowers. Your reputation matters. That's why so many landscape professionals choose Gravely. You can save up to 20% on Gravely commercial mowers during the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event going on now through the 19th. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Checking that forecast for today, it looks like we're going to have a lot of sunshine. It's going to be warm today, a high of 86 degrees. We're looking for an overnight low of 63, and we could have some thunderstorms in spots this afternoon and this evening, but cloudy overnight. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, breezy, warm, and more humid with a high of 86. We have sunshine, 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Businesses across the country tell the Federal Reserve they're watching what happens in Iran as they consider decisions on hiring, pricing, and capital investment. Let's see what the sentiment is in our region and if it's any different. Charles Gaskin, economist and assistant vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, in studio with us this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So overall, when we look at the contacts in our region, did they have that same reservation about what's happening in Iran?
Yes, I mean, the conflict in the Middle East is cited as a major source of uncertainty, and it is impacting business and decision making. And we're starting to see it show up. Obviously, I think the place most people see it is in oil and gas prices, and obviously, gas prices are posted on every street corner, so it's kind of hard to miss those. So that seems to be one place that it's continuing to show up. But there are other areas where global supply chain disruptions are impacting the prices of plastics as well as metals. So, I mean, that's really the mechanism in which it's showing up is both pricing uncertainty and then overall just uncertainty about the conflict and how long it's going to last and what that ultimately means for the economy. So I would describe it as, we had this wait and see approach throughout most of the last year due to uncertainty that kind of started to wane as we got to the end of last year. And now it's just kind of picked back up again.
It looks like overall a lot of things are unchanged, but you mentioned the energy prices. So what are we seeing, with that and then just overall prices of things?
Yeah, so overall price growth has been relatively moderate across most districts. But here's the thing, input costs are still rising faster than prices that businesses are able to charge to households. And so that's still compressing profit margins. Just looking at the list of places where prices are going up, you see it in energy and fuel costs going up pretty sharply. That leads to higher freight and shipping costs going up. There's reports of higher prices in plastics and fertilizers. Some of that can be tied to global supply chains, but also oil being and energy being input into that production process. Think about the row crop products. I mean, we're starting to get into planting season, so seeing higher fertilizer prices is definitely something that's going to pinch our row crop farmers. And then you're also seeing metal prices climbing in steel, copper, and aluminum. Some of that is attributed to tariffs. And then on the service side, you've got technology service costs going up, as well as insurance is something that we continue to hear about. So, it's a broad-based price increases that you're seeing in many of these areas.
It's interesting because for a long time, I think there were a lot of companies that were trying to hold back on passing that on to consumers. We talked about that a number of times, but it seems like they've kind of hit that breaking point now.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of ties both to the labor market as well as to what's getting passed on. So with profit margins being compressed, firms have to decide, do we invest more to become more productive so that we can keep our prices stable where they're at? Or do we ultimately have to pass some of these costs on to customers? In certain sectors where pricing is transparent, they use things like fuel surcharges to kind of do temporary adjustments to prices. But in other cases, it's just kind of a slow burn as to kind of how these things move their way through.
As it trickles down to consumers, are they still spending?
Yeah, when you look at the consumer, it's still kind of this kind of tale of two consumers. You have high income consumers that continue to spend on travel, they're buying and they're dying out. But at the same time, you've got the everyday middle income household, low income household that's really being stretched because they're seeing costs and necessities like insurance and utilities kind of crowd out their buying power. And that's leading to, signs in a couple areas, shifts away from cash spending towards more credit spending. Some signs of, even overdrafts starting to pick up that bankers are noting to us. What's, I think, muddling the picture right now is we're in just the normal tax return type of the season. The average tax refund's higher than it was last year. So that's given an added boost to consumer spending over the last couple months.
Kind of like those stimulus checks of the past, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have just weather disruptions. I know here in St. Louis, the weather's been great. But when I look across the system and you look at what our colleagues are telling us, they're finally starting to see a break in the frost and starting to get better weather. And so that impacts business activity. Just to kind of give you an interesting anecdote, on the East Coast, weather was great for skiing. So ski resorts reported things were great. But then if you go out to Colorado, not the same situation. They actually had to close early. So sometimes it's just what the weather looks like will have an impact on overall economic conditions as well.
So with the way that businesses are squeezed with the prices right now and the cost of things, are we seeing any changes in hiring or retaining employees?
Yeah, the labor market is kind of in that stable position, but it's kind of low hiring and low firing. Not a lot of turnover, so attrition rates are still relatively low, and minimal layoffs at the same time. So I think that's a positive. But there's still, because of this uncertainty, businesses are reluctant to hire permanent workers. So we actually saw in some districts reporting an increase in the hiring of temporary workers, and just to have that flexibility as well. As firms are growing, they're investing in new technologies to gain productivity and because of profit margin compression, but also, not sure what demand's going to look like in the future. One of the things that showed up in our district, I thought that was interesting. We heard a couple times was businesses telling us that they want to replace departing workers for critical positions. So they are still being selective as to kind of what positions they're backfilling. And then at the same time, they're having people that retire and they're struggling to find another person to replace them. And they're actually bringing some of these retirees back on a flexible basis because they need to fill a hole and they have a need in their organization. So it's a weird labor market because there's not broad-based hiring. There's structural shortages and really difficult finding workers in certain areas. And so it kind of creates this very interesting environment where if you have the right skills, there's plenty of jobs out there. But if not, it can be a very difficult market to find a job right now because there's not a lot of job openings.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about job hugging.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hear that a lot from businesses. They think we're going to reduce our workforce through attrition, and now people are sticking around longer than they anticipate.
Charles Gaskin, economist, assistant vice president, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Happy to be here.
Coming up next on Total Information AM, there's a shoe company that's decided it's going into AI. It's taken a complete shift. Our Sean Malone noticed that caused an incredible jump in their stock. He talks about it with WashU economics professor John Horn next.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. That makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
GLP-1s work, and STL weight loss injections can help you navigate the process. Their amazing staff is here to work with you to begin a new weight loss journey. The first month is just $199. For more information and to schedule an appointment, head to stlweightlossinjections.com.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
Allbirds, a shoe company built on the concept of fashionable shoes made from sustainable materials, has announced they are going to change completely to AI computing. Following the announcement, the stock jumped 580% in value. KMOX's Sean Malone spoke with Washington University economics professor John Horn to ask if it's a sign of an AI bubble.
John, when you hear that a company that has nothing to do with artificial intelligence and nothing to do with tech announces that they're becoming an AI company and their stock explodes in value, what's your response to that?
Well, yeah. So my initial response is it reminds me a lot of what happened 5 or a little bit over 5 years ago with the blockchain, where everything that suddenly got labeled blockchain suddenly became extraordinarily valuable, even if the company had nothing to do with setting up or using blockchains. I think what was happening back then was everyone was desperate to invest in blockchain technology because they thought it was going to be the next big thing. That anytime a company came out and said, oh, we're blockchain too, there was a rush of investment dollars towards those companies. This feels like the same thing, that just labeling yourself AI suddenly is like, we've got to find somewhere to invest in AI. Oh, they say they're AI, let's go invest in them. So it to me, it's very reminiscent of what happened. It wasn't even a full decade ago, but with the blockchain craze, and everyone's trying to find something to do with blockchain to invest in.
This can almost appear reminiscent to the .com crash as well from a couple of years even further back than the blockchain craze, where basically anytime a company needed more value, they would throw .com at the end of their name, and all of a sudden their value would explode. And obviously that bubble burst on the economy. Do you see any similarities to that situation with what we're seeing right now with AI, where again, companies irrelevant to artificial intelligence can just label themselves an AI company and see a significant growth in value?
To me, the biggest connection between what happened at .com, 25 years ago, was that the assumption was if you're labeling yourself a .com or online business, you must be valuable. And at the time, there was not a real good understanding of the basic, I guess, the underpinning financials of, but how are these companies actually going to make money? And there was almost we've got to invest now because eventually they'll figure out how to make money. If you look at a lot of the AI companies, the ones that are developing AI, it hasn't really become clear how they're going to create sustainable, profitable businesses that will generate the revenue that justifies all the investment that's going into them right now. And so in that sense, to me, there's some overlap that people are investing and not necessarily looking at sort of classical returns using financial modeling that we would use for a lot of other industries, just sort of assuming that, well, if I invest now, the valuation is going to keep going up because it has been going up. And so therefore I'll be better off in the future, without really thinking, but how are they going to generate revenue, and how are they going to control costs, and how are they going to make profits to actually pay me back from investing in them?
What does it say about the potential for an AI bubble that a company can just announce they are now switching brands entirely to an artificial intelligence company, and before you see any kind of work or any end product that they do as an AI company, their value grows significantly?
To me, the challenge is going to be, is this going to be attempted by other companies who try the same thing? And are there going to be enough companies where this happens and eventually investors say, wait a minute, they make shoes, this is an AI company, and then they pull out, and then it's, well, who do I trust? And then pull out even more funding from other companies that might actually legitimately be developing AI tools and technologies. And when the blockchain thing happened, it was a lot of investment in some smaller companies. We've seen this with meme stocks. It hasn't necessarily bled into the rest of the market or the rest of the industry. And I think that's the one thing I would be sort of trying to watch out for, is do we see, dozens, if not hundreds of companies trying this same thing? And then all at once investors saying, oh, wait, we weren't really looking at this the right way, and pulling money out. It's those sort of big shifts in investment and pulling money out that tend to really disturb the stock market and also the economy more broadly.
Anything else about this I didn't ask you about that you think would be interesting or good for people to know?
I think the one thing with AI is, and I think it's part of the reason why this is news today, is that there's still a lot of stuff we don't understand about where AI is going and what the end game is going to play out and look like. I think that's part of the reason why Allbirds has had this huge increase, is because if it was a clear vision of, yes, this is how AI is going to affect the economy, this is how it's going to affect business, then investors will say, yeah, you're not AI, so we're not investing. But I think it's more indicative of we don't really understand where this is going, so we might as well, maybe this is a good chance, maybe we'll take a chance on investing in this company. I think to me that's more of what it says than necessarily that this is a bubble that will burst. It's people are having a hard time getting their head around what it means to have AI in the economy and where to invest or not.
That is John Horn with Washington University with our Sean Malone.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Millions play broadband noise during the night for sleep, but new research from the University of Pennsylvania challenges the widespread use of ambient sound marketed as sleep aids. A rigorous sleep lab study of healthy adults finds earplugs worked better than machines or